on a disk floating through space with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm Fight the Flat Earth and welcome back to the channel that goes for a nice long drive in the countryside with stupidity and then comes back alone. Now quickly, just before we get started, there's been a bit of drama on my channel between me and Lookapig. I apologise to Lookapig unreservedly for calling him a scammer and saying that he bailed on the community, and that's the last that I ever want this spoken of on my channel, please everyone, thank you. Anyway, tonight we're going to have some fun because we've got Russianvids and 33UC. I found out actually yesterday the 33UC is actually Russianvids Protege, so that should be fun. Joining me on the globe side tonight we have he says he's a beaver, but I'm still saying he's a platypus. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm not doing bad at all. Looking forward to this. Thank you for joining. There's not really any moderating in this. It's just going to be me and you having a discussion in air quotes with these two gentlemen. So Russianvids, how are you doing today?
Good, Craig. Good. Thanks for asking. Hope
No
everybody
worries.
out there is doing well as well.
That's always nice. And 33UC, how are you this evening?
Fantastic.
That's all we
Thanks
need to
for
know.
asking.
Do you guys want to take a minute to introduce yourselves, or do you just want to get straight into this?
I'm just gonna refer to you as the worm.
The
going
worm,
forward.
lovely.
The worm. Since you love to try and worm out of the most basic stuff.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. There's plenty of show to get back to that.
Yeah, no worries. So where do we want to start? Let's just get into this lovely flat Earth fun. What do you want to start with? Let's just get into it.
Yeah, I would say this, Craig. How about the video that I supplied you? This is a video I made back in 2015.
Okay.
This is about 4 or 5 months after I started making flat Earth videos on the topic of satellites.
On the topic of satellites. Let me just get that
Yeah,
video.
satellites.
Would you like
And
me to
the
just,
ISS as well.
would you like me just to play the whole video for you?
Sure, you can. Yeah, you can play it.
Just
there's a
tell me if
portion,
you
like
want
I
it to
said, where
stop
there's
or anything. Right.
Okay.
Let me just get that added in as an input.
I said just play it with the audio.
Of a discussion. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. No worries.
All I was
Craig,
saying is
yeah,
I haven't
I
been
did
part
a
of the
lot of
discussion. You'll
questions
probably win a
about
bunch of points
satellites.
against me. I'll be rusty as
this
shit.
is their evidence
Anyways, go ahead.
that the Earth is a ball. Let's
Okay.
take a look at these images of these
Yeah, Craig, if you
satellites.
could play the video
Yeah,
with the
I'm just-
audio
These look
up,
real
and
to you?
I'll stop you before
I
any
want you people
like
that talk
copyright
about
music or
satellites
anything
all the
that shows
time
up, so you don't have any
to
issues.
show me a real
well
image.
before, so you won't have any issues. Just me speaking throughout. I would say about. Let's see here. I would say about 3 minutes in, you should be okay.
Okay.
No, about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, you'll be fine.
Satellite, you get a CGI planet,
Ooh,
all
go back to the
bogus.
All right, I'll get this back to the beginning and we'll play it from there. And get
Right.
this switched over.
The flat Earth lately.
Like I
I'm
said,
getting
this,
a lot
this
of
goes back to
questions about
2015.
satellites. You know, this is their evidence that the Earth is a ball. Now let's take a look at these images of these satellites. Do these look real to you? I want you people that talk about satellites all the time
You gonna play the audio,
to
Craig?
show me a
Oh, is the
real
audio not coming
image
through? I'm sorry.
of
I
a
thought
satellite.
my bad.
Yeah, I don't hear the audio at all.
Sorry, I forget. I've got it set up.
Russian. These are the moves he pulls when it's time for us to demonstrate.
No, well, I'm
With all the
going
videos
back
I'm
to the
making
beginning. I just forgot to put
Covering
the
the
audio
flat
on.
Earth lately.
I'm assuming you can hear that now, yeah?
I'm getting a lot of questions
Yes.
about
Yeah,
satellites.
my bad.
You know, this is their
No worries.
evidence that the Earth is a ball. Now let's take a look at these images of these satellites. Do these look real to you? I want you people that talk about satellites all the time to show me a real image of a satellite. All you get are these CGI images, not a single real image of a satellite anywhere. Why is that? All we get is this fake garbage. You get a CGI satellite, you get a CGI planet, all bogus, 100%. So, for all you people coming to my channel, talking about satellites, make a video, produce real satellites. You can't do it because they don't exist, period. Supposedly close to 3,000 satellites up in space. Again, all we get is this fake garbage.
Now
Let's look
here,
at what
please.
ISS.
All right.
Now, question here is, we could pretty much stop in right there, that one image. And the question is, what's actually filming that? It's going to be a rolling image of ISS supposedly traveling above the ball Earth. Now, what's actually video capturing that video? If you want to put it back there briefly, so we can look at that footage and play that again without the audio. That's all I wanted to show as far as the satellites. We'll get into more than the satellites in a second. But what's filming this? Is it supposedly real?
Yeah, I would imagine.
This is supposed real footage from ISS of the ball Earth.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't
again,
know why
what's
that would
filming?
be hard to be real. That's from inside the ISS to out. That one's easy. The other one, I would give you, I think, is actually CGI. Is it not?
I'm not sure if that was actually a real
Because
image
it's
of
not
the
like
Earth.
it's not like we don't acknowledge that they make CGI imagery to try to like demonstrate what things look like for people. It's just that it's not all CGI imagery. I mean,
why
Okay, how about
demonstrate
this?
it if they're floating up there, guys? If they're just floating up there, why are we shown a demonstration? Just engage your brain for about 2 seconds. Why would they show
because
you
it's
images when they have the ability to take photographs? The stuff that we get for $500.
But there's lots. There is
nothing.
video of them releasing satellites and stuff. But the problem is that you remember the distance in space. I mean, if you've got a distance of like 300 kilometers between an object, I mean, can you see an object that's 300 kilometers away, like a car driving in another city? Because I can't, and I know that you can't zoom into them with the P1000. So if you can't do that there, then why would you be able to do the same thing in space? I mean, the distances are very large. Everybody has this idea like they're whizzing by all around, like you should grab one to your left and grab one to your right. It's just they're not that close. I mean, they're only the size of like
wait a minute,
BMWs and stuff.
So they're the size of
the
BMWs.
size of a school bus.
Yeah.
Or school buses, but that's still. But when you're talking about space, I mean, a
Yeah.
school bus is nothing. I mean, why don't we talk about atoms? Why don't we talk about an atom in the middle of a omniplex or something? I mean, or a speck of dust in the middle.
To quote Douglas Adams, space is big, really, really big.
The thing is this, though, guys. You have to understand, of course, these supposed satellites in space. You know, you could zoom in on the so-called ball Earth and get basically, you can see literally people walking the streets. Of course, there's stills, but you see people. Walking in streets. If you look at an intersection from a supposed image from a satellite, you can see people. You can see cars. You can see, someone's front yard, backyard, the trees.
I mean, I would say
the cars
that
in front of their house. So,
Actually, I'll give you a little fact I know about that is that if you actually want to know, Google's been lying to everybody for years, and satellite view is actually aerial view. No, this is true. You can actually look.
I know that.
No, listen. You can look it up.
Of course.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Of course.
But
So
here's the big thing, though. Like most of the satellites, and the cameras that they have on the ISS, they're just like commercial grade satellites, cameras. Sorry.
They can't zoom in like that.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's
a
not like
satellite could.
Yeah, it's not like they've got some super powerful camera on the ISS with them. The fact is, when they take cameras and stuff into space, they don't actually last very long. So they're not going to spend hundreds of thousands taking up a camera that's going to last a couple of months before it gets destroyed by any of the solar radiation.
For instance, that's why America
get destroyed.
This is why America perfected drones, for instance, because it's a lot to get a satellite over there. They have them, but I mean, you still got to get it into the right orbit, and you can dispatch a drone, put it way up in the sky because it's the same thing. Remember, they can't see those drones up in the sky either. And meanwhile, there's a plane up there, and that's actually a decent-sized little airplane, and they don't even see them.
Like your buddy Worm?
What was that?
Are you trying to say like your buddy Worm said the other day that when you reach a certain altitude, you are just all of a sudden you start just free falling in a floating orbit? Is that what you believe too?
But it's not about altitude, it's about speed.
I didn't say that as soon as
That's
you
the
get
thing,
up
so-
there, you start falling. I'm saying that is what's happening
Well-
in an orbit. When you're up there,
That's how
you're
orbit
not.
works.
You don't just start
Yes.
floating. You have to actually
So
free
what
fall for the floating to happen.
What altitude does space start? When do you just start
Well, the
floating?
Kármán line is the accepted.
But you don't start.
yeah.
You're not listening. You don't start floating. When you're in orbit of a planet, you're essentially just always falling. And the only reason you don't fall to the Earth or to the planet is that you keep going forward at a rate that keeps it falling away. And I'm sorry that it's not a different answer, but that's literally the answer. So I can't bend space and time.
Are you? I just want to know where you stand. Are you in the same? Are you in the same fantasy land as Worm when it comes to
Of course,
people aren't?
of course I am.
Okay, wait a minute. Time out. Do you think that there's a
Okay,
live
I'll let you
human being under your feet, upside down from your position right now?
Well, yeah, because the facts
You
show
do.
that.
You believe that? You.
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. Just to
33, let me
clear
jump
the
in here,
airway.
33.
For instance, in Florida right now, it's dark, but in Canada, it's not.
Okay.
And why is that?
I just
Okay,
wanted
let
to, I
me
just
jump in
wanted
here,
to clear
guys.
the air.
But meanwhile,
guys,
and I go to the same-
gavel.
Right. Yeah, gavel,
RV,
that's right. He's right.
RV, what did
Go
you
ahead.
want to say, bud?
Yeah, this is the thing is 33 brings up a good point about standing on the so-called ball Earth. Is there someone underneath you on the other side of the so-called ball Earth? Let me ask you guys a question for the ball Earth believers here on the panel. If you dug a hole, for example, you're in the U.S., you dug a hole all the way going past the core to the other side of the so-called ball Earth. You're going feet first down. Now let me ask you this: when you get to the
It's
other side of the
insane.
so-called ball Earth, are you going to come out feet first or head first?
Well,
When you exit.
Right. Let's go. Okay. Right. Let's change the question a bit so that it's easier to answer.
let's
Okay.
stay
No, it's my
right
question, Craig.
on
No,
top
I'm
of it.
taking your
Worm,
question.
worm,
Right.
worm,
Right, Gavel.
worm,
Right, let's imagine that there is a
worm.
hole that goes from the US all the way to the other side.
Worm, answer,
Right.
Yeah, answer the
Right.
question.
So, and then you jump in the hole in the USA, and you fall down. All right. What do you think would happen?
We don't
Well,
think we
you
live
should
in a
go out
spinning water
first.
ball.
Okay, no, I know that you don't think that, but assuming our model, and you jumped in that hole that goes all the way to
Like
the other
Washington was
side,
explaining, why would your feet flip over?
but that's what I'm trying to get to. When you jump in that hole and you go down all the way to the center, and you go past the center, what do you think's going to happen then?
Okay.
You're actually
Tell
not
us.
going to just
We
go,
want to hear.
right? But
We wanna
if you
hear
were
what you
if you were digging to get there, you would probably dig and end up like going up and digging with your hands to get up. But
I mean, at some point, you would start feeling like you were going up.
Worm, are you going to come out with your feet down, or your head's going to come out first? Answer the question. I can't
I
hear
can't
the
hear him
worm.
at all. Somehow we lost
the
him
worm-
completely.
Yeah, somehow the worm is worming out of this once again. He's pulling the old internet trick. Now it's the sounds down.
Somebody
on,
managed
Craig.
to mute Craig.
Come on, Craig. Someone's giving you an
Yes.
answer. Someone's typing you an answer or what?
He knows
Hold on,
it.
I'm
He
talking in
knows
his ear.
That's
I
all right,
gotta
Craig.
mute myself so I can talk.
it. Let us know. Let us
That's
know
right.
what they're saying.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
sorry,
I'll
my
continue this for
microphone
a minute.
literally just turned off there. I have no idea what happened.
I might have to
Apologies.
call. We might have to call him the parrot pretty soon because he just repeats anything he's told instead of the worm.
Okay, right. So
Parrot,
Wow.
worm,
yeah,
whatever
the-
you guys want.
what I was saying, the thing about direction is that it's relative. Okay, so let's go back to your question about Mrs. Moon is looking at this globe.
Yes.
All right,
Let's talk about Mrs. Moon.
Mrs. Moon is on the moon where
Is
apparently
that
Buzz
ironic
Aldrin's
or
dropped
what?
off.
That his mother's maiden
Right.
name was Mrs. Moon.
Yeah,
Is that ironic?
thing
Can we address that? for
it's a
minute?
coincidence, and coincidences happen.
Coincidence.
But let's go back to what you
like
were saying.
my friend
Right?
Russian always
So-
alludes to.
Oh, I
You
don't even
must
have USS
be
Nail
a
Clipper.
coincidence
I don't have
to
USS
believe
Nail
all
Clipper.
this, man.
Right, let's go.
It's incredible.
Right. So Mrs. Moon is looking at this, and you've got her son. He's in a massive plane on the North Pole, and you watch him fly, which is going to take like at least 10, 12 hours, all the way down to the South Pole. Right. Now,
We have time. We have time.
From your relative position, it looks like he is upside down. Okay? Not that you're going to see him because he's really small. But from your relative position, it looks like he is upside down. But for him, down is towards the center of the globe. Because down is literally dictated by gravity. That's what you need to understand.
But are
Down
you trying
and
to tell
up
the
are
viewers that
relative
they are
things.
not
Do you do you understand that down and up
Matter
are
of fact,
relative things?
Matter of fact, I have a link prepared for you for the viewers. A little link that'll help demonstrate.
Do you understand?
I mean, hey, but hold on.
Hold
You
on,
never
guys,
told me
I
if
want
you
to
can see.
moderate this here. Hold on, guys. I want to moderate this real quick. Let's all take turns speaking. I get really annoyed when everybody's talking over each other. Let's be respectful here.
Yeah. So
we got to do this the right way.
Thank you, Russianvids. I appreciate
people are not going to.
I get out of hand. I get out of hand.
Right.
Can I ask one
no
question?
worries, man.
Let me just clarify my question. So 33. Do you understand what I mean when I say that direction is relative?
I know what you're trying to worm out of. Yes, I'm very aware.
Okay,
and
so I am agreeing with you.
I just sent you a link. Pull it up.
One sec.
Let's give the viewers a better understanding of what you're trying to say, and I'll show them why you're wrong.
I mean, I think they understand.
Did you? You never told me, Russianvids, if you could see a school bus from 300 miles away. Can you see a school bus from 300 miles away? And can your P1000 see a school bus from 300 miles away? No, can it though? Well, because if it can't, then it's going to be hard to see a satellite at 300 miles away. You know, they're not going to be zooming by each other, right? Back to go ahead.
Well, the problem is what's called perspective. You only can see, the human eye, even if you have a telescope, a ground level looking straight at the horizon, you only can see so far when, again, perspective comes into play. So literally, it doesn't work that way. It's just not going to happen.
But okay, but then why would space not? Then why would then say? But hold on, why could I not extend that question, that answer out to the same reason why you don't have pictures of satellites whizzing by? Because at a certain point, it's just too far away. So I mean, you basically just answered your own question, have you not?
No, this is the thing is, again, I mentioned this many times before, with a P1000 or even a P900, you can look at the moon. You can get an image of the moon and you can zoom in. Basically, you can get very fine detail. And the moon is supposedly 283,000 miles away. So, things don't add up. Things don't make sense. When you're talking about satellites relatively in ISS, supposedly relatively, 22 miles supposedly in space?
Yeah, but you're looking at another planet. You're looking at another planet essentially that's orbiting our planet. I mean, it's a kind of a big object,
Let's
and those details. Well, okay, but we know the difference between a moon and a planet. What I'm saying is, these
are not places you can go visit and drop.
I mean, that's what you believe. That's what you believe, right? I mean, that's the discussion we're having, is it not?
Listen, guys, the moon is not as far as we're told. That's simple. The moon. Hey,
Russian.
Even NASA
I thought it wasn't a place we could go to.
The moon is in what they're. Hold on. Even NASA has stated recently that the moon is supposedly in Earth's so-called atmosphere. So this is nothing new. This revelation came out several months back.
But this wasn't even new information. It was actually just a redescribing of the same data they already had.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Can you cite that when they first mentioned that? Can you cite that?
I believe that there is a spot. I can't cite it on the spot. I'd have to do some research, right? But my understanding is that.
Hey, Russian,
they didn't spend that much time in the Van Allen belts.
To worm.
You know the one that in the US.
Can you guys hear me? My microphone keeps turning off. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice. I guess we were discussing.
Here we go with that whole routine.
Right, I've been trying to say that.
I'll let you get back.
I've been trying to say I've got 33's thing prepared. So you want me to just play this? Do you 33?
Worm,
let's go that way.
Before you play it, I just want to set the stage because this is why we have a problem following you sometimes.
Please do.
Because when you say it's relative and you try and worm your way around what I was explaining for the whole podcast, when you're looking from the supposed moon and you're looking back at this Earth that you think is a spinning water ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this the perfect, what you call, vantage point to see you fly from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole upside down? I mean, you talk about perspective and oh my God, that's not what we're talking about. But
okay, can I clarify your question? Are you asking if I could see
looking back at the Earth?
Right.
So
I want Kim to clarify this.
Right. 33. Let me just ask you: are you asking me that if on this
play that? Yeah.
If we could look back at
I think this is the right video anyway, where you see
you just
see
sent
the
me that.
Earth come up from
I think
the...
Fight's thinking. I have a feeling Fight's asking the same question that I started asking in my head.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Well, I'll let him get there. He's the one asking it, so let's
Right,
let him find
so-
a spot
You
there.
want it from this
So
point,
right there,
Yeah.
if we had a strong, telescope, camera, whatever you want to call it, military grade,
Right. If
optic.
right.
We're
not
not
that
going
there
somebody
is anything that
land
could right 33 stop
upside
33
down.
stop
Is that
talking
what you're gonna
33
continue to tell people?
stop just let me answer. You need to stop talking, all right?
Yeah, you gotta let him answer.
All right. So
Well, I mean,
if there
besides the viewers,
if there was something that was powerful enough to be able to see a plane go from the North Pole to the South Pole in that location, as I have stated, relative to the person that is looking at it, it will appear that the airplane has gone from the right way up to upside down. However,
appear or will be?
appear, because direction is
What do you mean?
relative.
What about Mrs. Moon? Is
Direction,
she not...
you told me you understood what direction is relative means.
What about Mrs. Moon?
She
What about
appears
Mrs. Moon?
from her.
Appears? What do you
yes,
mean appears?
because
She's not
direction is
seeing what she's
relative.
seeing? Is that what you're going to tell Mrs. Moon?
I'm
I'd love to hear you tell Mrs. Moon
Shut up and listen to the answer. All right.
You always get very upset when
Direction
we start
is
getting-
relative. From Mrs. Moon's point of view, it
know what?
would
We'll
appear.
move past it,
Stop talking. From Mrs. Moon's
We'll
point
move
of view, it will appear that her son in this plane that it can be seen from the moon has gone from the North Pole to the South Pole and is now upside down. However, as direction is relative for the person in that plane, they don't go upside down because down is towards the center of the planet. Now, let's move past this point because that answers the question.
I'll let you worm out of that.
Great.
I'll let you worm out of that one.
Craig, let me ask you something, Craig.
Yo,
Yeah, I want to ask you this. Why hasn't NASA provided any video footage of planes or these cargo ships cruising up inside the so-called ball Earth?
okay.
Say, for example, an expedition going to Antarctica. That'd be very nice from the ISS or any type of...
do you want the
maybe they
honest
haven't-
answer? Do you want the honest answer for that? Is that NASA don't give two fucks about proving to people whether the Earth is flat or not? Like
They
that.
are-
that
Yeah,
is
but the only
honest
problem
answer.
is if you,
And
the other thing is if you
thing
take a picture of
Sorry.
a picture of the Earth upside down and then you flip the photo, it's right side up. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing we're trying to tell
Plus,
you.
in
no,
the
no,
same
no,
vein,
no.
right? Why is there no pictures
yeah.
from the top of the Empire State Building of ants going around on the grass at the bottom of it? Why is there no pictures of that?
Well, that's
That's a good point.
We know ants exist. Everybody can view ants. The bottom line is
Can-
this.
can you-
But why is there no
Yeah,
photos?
from the
Nobody.
ISS,
Why is
you
there no
can see the
photos?
top of the ball Earth and the bottom.
Yeah.
If you zoom in, you should be able to see this take place. If you could zoom in with a satellite image,
If there was a
and zoom into someone's
camera
house,
powerful enough,
see
but
their
there
car in
isn't.
front of their house. Craig, hold on. Let me just get this point out.
Yeah.
If
Well, you can
if
see
a
the city
satellite
lights.
can zoom in into someone's home, you can see their car parked in front of their house. Why don't they have use the same technology to zoom in on a cargo ship on the side of the ball Earth, cruising up and down?
NASA
You
don't
never see it,
have
never
cameras
happens.
like that. Like I've explained to you, most of NASA's cameras
The
that are in
U.S.
space are
government
commercial
does
grade.
for-
How about a still?
Whether it's a still or not, you're not going to be able to take a photo of something that is so incredibly small. Like, do you actually
But you
realize
realize
how
the
you could
big
take a
budget
picture
the
of
for
the
Earth
car.
is? The Earth is so big, like beyond. You literally can't comprehend how
Right.
big the Earth is.
so big. Listen to this, Russian. Listen to this. It's so massive that in the picture that he showed us the other night, where he had the two boats and the one was supposedly falling over the curve, that was the arc. It was so massive, we saw the curve from the beach. How
Yeah.
big is Earth?
That's
How big is
You
Earth?
were looking.
And right,
Holy
there's
cow!
actually a
Circumferences.
formula based on the size of the Earth
I'm never,
where you can calculate exactly that. Right, we get that photo up because that is a very good photo
We're
for
seeing
proving
the
my
curve
points.
from the beach. That's the problem.
You're seeing the
That's a pretty
effects.
small place.
Right, Russianvids. Let me clarify something.
Russian, would you
what you're
agree or
seeing,
no?
right, guys. Right, stop talking when I'm
Jesus.
talking, please. What you see is the effects of curvature. You don't actually see curvature. Okay.
What are you talking about?
Well, exactly
The
what you're seeing
effects.
is the effects of curvature, i.e., something dropping behind where the curve is. Otherwise,
If that's the
Okay,
curve,
how does this
how big
happen?
is the
How does
planet?
this happen on a flat
You have
Earth?
to follow
Craig, I
the
wanna answer
curve.
that.
What do you mean?
Craig, I want to answer that.
Yeah, go
Why
ahead.
don't you show that picture of that young boy on the red-orange planet taking a photo of a building. How about you show that?
Is that one that you sent me earlier?
I shared with you.
Let me just get
Yes, please share that one.
that. Okay, right, I see the one. 2 secs, let me get
I
that
can't wait to see
down.
this. It's gonna
Save
be
image as... right, it's in there. Add input. It just takes me 1 minute, bear with me. Image...
So remember this still you have here
I
with
don't have my
your ship.
producer. I have to do it myself.
No worries, Craig. Take your time. No worries.
Okay, right, that'll be at the bottom.
Well, hopefully his internet just doesn't go down again with that whole routine.
There it is.
I know,
There it is.
very, very
Now-
planned, right? I know.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is
Yeah.
this simple
So
this simple image here of this dude taking a photo of these buildings. You know, you talk about buildings. You see like the so-called hump. This is the curvature of the Earth. Well, buildings should be like it's demonstrated here. They should be tilting away. We never see that. Same with your ship. You
okay.
never see the ship going at an angle. It's always you see the.
I can answer that for you. It's a very simple answer. Okay, right. So
I know what he's gonna say. I know what he's gonna say.
If you in the room you're in right now, okay, if you had a pencil standing on the floor the other side of the room, and then you had another pencil next to it that was standing but was 1 degree off, could you tell that pencil was 1 degree off of the one that's directly level?
No, because we're not talking about one degree here.
Let me get that helps with the point, right? When you're looking at the Earth, there is 1 degree of curve every 69 miles. So when you're looking at a building that you can see, you wouldn't expect to see it tilted because don't interrupt, right? The angle of the tilt is so small, again, because of the size of the Earth. In the picture that you're presenting here, that is a massively exaggerated example of what you would see. The person taking the photo would not see those buildings because they would literally be the other side of the planet. But anything that you can take a photo of is not going to be tilted enough for the the angle to be shown.
Okay, Craig, let me follow up with this. I asked McToon the same thing. What is the radius of the so-called ball Earth?
7,000 something.
No, the radius. You don't know the radius of the ball?
7,000 kilometers, isn't it?
No, the radius is supposedly 3,959 miles. I'm a flat earther, and I know this, and you don't.
Yeah, I just said,
Craig.
dude, I just said kilometers.
No,
so yeah. Right, yeah, so it's 6,371 kilometers. That's the radius of the Earth.
In miles.
In miles,
See, that's the problem.
It's 3,950-ish at the poles.
Okay, okay, good enough. Now what we're getting to is the curvature rate. Okay, curvature rate. What is the curvature rate at 60 miles?
The curvature rate at 60 miles.
Yes.
Well, like I said, 69 miles is 1 degree.
And how many miles drop is it? How about that? Make it simple.
Okay, so I'm sure we've all used a curve calculator before, right? That can tell you.
Yes,
the
that's what I'm getting at.
Are you let me just ask? Are you using the 8 inches mile squared thing? Because that isn't right. That actually maps out a parabola, and at the diameter of the Earth, if you use that equation, you would actually end up having a distance away from the planet that was 3 times the size of the diameter. So using 8 inches miles per squared isn't the correct thing to do for anything more than like 100 miles or something. Just wanted to get that out there.
Well, we're speaking at 60 miles, Craig. So I'm not going beyond that. I'm sticking within 100 miles. So we're only speaking about 60 miles here.
Okay.
So the question is.
Hold on, someone's feeding him something, Russian. Give him a second. The worm is reading.
I'm looking up information as we go to make sure that I get the right stuff for you.
You're not going to worm out of this, man.
No, I'm absolutely not.
That's it.
Craig.
This channel needs to just be shut down. That's it.
That's the second time I got you, Craig.
Got me what?
Second time I got you.
I'm literally looking for the answer for you now.
You should know it. The channel is
right. Do you know the actual calculation to figure out the curve? Do you know the calculation? Like, because it's not 8 inches per square mile, so I can't just do it like that. I have to look something up and do the math. So it's not a you got me moment just because I cannot answer the numbers straight away. 33. You need to stop interrupting me. Right.
You want us to let you out of this one?
No, I want you to get to the point. Russianvids. So
We'll
right.
we'll let you out. We'll let you out of this one. We'll move on to something else.
That's the
Maybe,
point here.
No, so at 60 miles, there approximately 0.45 miles of drop.
There you go. So that goes to my question. Why on a clear day across Lake Michigan, you can see the Chicago skyline
Because of atmospheric
with a
refraction.
tremendous curve.
Yeah, but
Right.
that's
The more
calculatable.
important question is, why can't you see it all the time?
Yeah, actually,
Because
that's exactly
atmosphere.
right.
Because sometimes.
Well, there's my
sometimes
answer as well. My answer is
Hold
the
on.
same.
So why does it work for you and not for me?
Okay,
But
let me explain this in
but when we
detail.
did see it, you guys tried to explain it away as a phenomenon.
Yeah, but why can you
phenomenon.
see it
No,
sometimes and
you
not?
saw
And
it.
why
Yeah.
is it
You saw it.
atmospheric for you
I'm
and
trying to
not for
explain
me?
that. I'm trying to answer the question, but I keep getting interrupted.
Right, let Russianvids speak.
So you're gonna so explain why facts work for you,
okay.
not for us.
No, the facts work for everybody. Okay, you guys don't want to accept the facts. I'm going to explain to you. The man that takes these photos, Joshua Nowicki, he stated, "I'm out here basically every day taking photos, and the atmosphere is basically different every day." Bottom line is, some days it's harder to see across. Some days, he says, on a clear day you see it. You shouldn't see it on a clear day at all with the supposed Earth's curvature. So, again, sometimes there's more moisture in the air than other days. There's more fusion in the air than other days.
Okay,
Depending on the
Okay, but why does
atmosphere.
that? The question I would ask is, why does that prove flat Earth and not globe Earth? So why does it have to go? Why does it swing? Why does the pendulum
Obviously,
swing
'cause we're
all the
not
fucking way over to
seeing
your
it.
side?
It's very simple. From with the supposed curvature of the Earth, you shouldn't see them at all ever. That's the point.
But then why don't you see
You
it?
understand?
But why don't you see it all the time then?
But the thing is,
I just answered
with
that.
atmospheric
Exactly.
refraction,
I
you
told
can see it sometimes. Now, like, can we
Brainy,
agree?
you're
Right,
not too brainy.
right, guys. Right, can we
Oh,
agree?
Jesus.
Can we agree that something like
I'll get you a pack of crayons.
Right, guys, right, can we agree that something like the Michigan
that.
skylines isn't
Appreciate
exactly a conclusive proof either way? Because you can't see it all the time. So without having to understand all the atmospheric refraction and everything, we cannot use that as a verification of the Earth being flat or not. Because sometimes it confirms that the Earth could be flat, sometimes it confirms the Earth is a sphere. All right? So
On a lighter note,
how about we move on to more like solid observations, like the one
Okay,
Jarenism
how about
did?
this?
Wait,
Okay, how about that?
I'm asking the question, right? What about the observation that Jarenism did that showed that there was Earth curve? How can you explain that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to
Do you
speak for Russia.
do you want me to play it so everyone can see it?
Yeah, I don't agree with Jarenism on this. I like Jarenism, but I don't agree with him in his experiment.
I don't dislike him, but I think he's keeping people in first grade. That's my opinion. I don't know the guy, but he doesn't move
Craig,
on.
how about you show the photo inside the planetarium?
Well,
Can you show that when you get a chance?
Yeah, well, we're going to just talk about Jarenism's observation first.
If you're seeing
go ahead.
hole through the next hole and seeing the light at the backboard or 17 feet off the water, the Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's his...
Oh, he just decided to do this
we
after
don't
his
see it,
channel
Enrique.
was going
Lift
for all
up
these
your
years.
lift up your light way
He
above
just
your
decided
head.
to do an experiment. I mean, give me a break.
Interesting.
Beyond the curve, when they had when they were showing off the little flat Earth models, as you guys know, I don't have to go digging for the video. I just don't have the time at the moment. If you guys want to go find it, be my guest. When they're showing off the little flat Earth models, they pull up the little flat Earth model, and what is it numbered? It's numbered 33.
Oh,
not
wonderful.
by chance.
Okay, so let's actually address what happened in that video.
That's a joke. Let's not even talk about that.
No. I'm not letting you worm out of this. Okay.
I'll address it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's not a documentary.
The fact is,
all right, if Worm accusing you of being a worm,
stop.
I can't have Worm accusing you of being a worm.
Quite clearly, they saw that there was curve because he didn't see the light until it was raised above his head. So how can that be explained on the
It was all very interesting.
Yeah.
It was all very interesting.
I mean, it's pretty conclusive, right?
I'll explain it. First off, even Reds himself said that's a faulty experiment and it's void. You know, after that all went
That's
down,
the Bedford
that whole
Level,
debacle.
basically.
Yeah, I mean that's
Red
just
said
saying
just
that
throw
any.
it's
I'm,
irrelevant experiment.
I'm not Reds, and neither is Brainy Beaver, and Reds doesn't speak for me. Jarenism is known as an authoritative in the flat Earth world, and he did
No,
that because the
maybe in your
laser
world.
experiment
Maybe in your world.
doesn't.
he's
Well,
the
no, in the
authority.
flat Earth world, he
Not my world.
did that
Well,
as a backup experiment
my
because he couldn't get the laser
Oh, oh.
experiment to work because
Nope.
he doesn't understand diffusion of lasers. But
Craig,
I mean, it should, whether you think that Jarenism is a shill or you think it was
You
a
said
bad
it. Hey,
experiment
I was
or
trying
not,
not to-
right?
I wasn't
Whether
trying to
you
say
think
it,
that
but
or
you
not,
said it.
address
Let him finish a
address what
sentence.
actually happened, which was they demonstrated that there is curve. How does that
And I
not
told you,
demonstrate that there is curve?
What's my name? What does
No,
Russian
answer the
Vids
question. Answer the
demonstrate
question.
best
How
in the
does that?
videos that he works to make and help
Right.
people see?
Okay, you're not worming out of this, dude. Answer the
I'm
actual
not warming
question.
out. I'm trying
How
to
does
explain
it
it to you.
demonstrate? How does it demonstrate
I'm trying to
that there isn't
demonstrate
worth
how
curve?
it's
All right,
a-
without
it's a-
talking about 33 or anything, talk about the
Well, of
solid
course, you
facts
don't want me to
there.
talk about it.
No, we just talk about the
'Cause the
solid
numbers-
facts in what we saw
The
there.
numbers are there.
33, let me
You
get
know
this. 33, let me get this.
Dude,
You know,
you are the
bottom
worm.
line is-
I'm sorry, that nickname's not mine anymore. That's on you right now, worm.
Hold on,
Okay.
guys. Hold on, guys.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on,
We're
guys.
gonna- we're
First
gonna-
off, just like you
We're going
said,
to talk.
Craig,
Wait, Russian, real quick. I'm going to let you go, but I just want the worm to think about this. I want him to
You're
get
the worm.
from
Don't
his
talk to yourself
handlers.
like that.
I'm gonna let
So
you
I want
finish,
him to get
Taylor,
from
but
the
first.
I want the handlers to be able to come up with something good for him. I want enough time. We're gonna talk
The
about the
handlers.
Star Wars.
I'm being handled now. Lovely.
We're gonna talk about the Star Wars logo found on Mars this week. So just
That was
we need
Star
some
Trek,
answers.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, Star Trek.
Trek.
They're
Star
very
Trek,
different
excuse
things.
me.
See,
Yeah.
now in Star
Come
Trek,
on, let's get her.
there's
I'm Team Star Trek. Okay, so we
So-
got to get these
Excuse
right.
me. We're
Okay.
gonna talk about the logo.
Here's the
though.
difference. Like in Star Trek, it's
okay.
based in our galaxy. Star Wars is
let me
based in a
jump in
galaxy
there.
far, far away.
Let
So
Russian
there's a
finish.
big
I
difference.
There you
interrupted.
go.
I was just.
In a long
Yeah,
time
I
ago,
was
I
just-
think.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we talk about that.
Okay, I want to just say this. You know, Craig, you're kind of a hypocrite. Hold on, guys. You're kind of being
Sorry,
a hypocrite, bringing up evidence from Jarenism when you say Res doesn't represent you. Well, Jarenism doesn't represent us. So let's be fair about that.
That doesn't make me a hypocrite at all. I'm just asking for the evidence to actually be addressed. Whatever Reds has said about it is irrelevant. I would just like it explained to me how that doesn't demonstrate that the Earth has curve. Because
again,
it really does.
I think we should stick to water. And you know,
that was done next to
lasers
water.
and lights and all that. Water remains level. Water seeks its level in its natural state.
Right. Okay. Now
Screw the lights. Screw the lasers.
Water. Here's the thing about water. All right, is that the natural physics of water is for it to conform to forces acting upon it, and if that means that it ends up level, then that is because of the forces acting on it. You can't just look at water and go, "Oh, it's flat." Therefore, you have to ask, why does that water seek to find that level? Why? What's causing it to do that? And the answer is an external force.
Let me answer this, Craig. Let me answer this, Craig. For example, you have a lake, and underneath that lake, in the very bottom of that lake, the ground is level. The bottom of that lake is level. Now let's look at another lake. There's a big, huge hump in that lake. Does it change the form of the water above it?
So say that again.
Yeah.
Could you just
okay. Do you understand what I just? Okay, I'll say it again.
Just
There's
repeat
two
it for
lakes.
me. Yeah.
Okay, there's two lakes. One lake, Lake A, the bottom of the lake is flat. Okay? Now you have Lake B.
Yeah.
There's a big hump in the bottom of Lake B. Does that have anything to do with the surface of each lake?
No.
There you go. So water.
What do you mean? There you go.
A hump or a curve.
Sorry, explain the there you go. I don't understand how you got there you go. Water. There's forces. Right. There's force pushing the water down, so it's not going to conform to the shape of the what's underneath. However, water does actually do that to a degree. It's a lot of how oceanographers have managed to map some of the surface. There can be perturbations on the surface based on the the seabed or whatever. But it's not like if you had a lump that was 10 foot high, you would not then see a 10-foot high lump on on the water. That's not how it works, because there's an external force pushing all of the water down.
So that
I mean,
which
it kind of
creates
goes
a level surface. Which creates a level surface. You agree
Absolutely,
upon
it does. You're
correct,
right.
Greg?
Yep, because level means having one side no higher than the other, right? We can agree on that.
And what are we doing? Putting a 6-foot level up and going, oh my God, it's level over 6 feet? Because I mean, if you can find me a 2-mile level and that thing still stays level, then you got yourself a magic trick, sir.
What I'm getting at is this. Now water could detect the curve of the Earth, supposedly. That's my point.
No,
So,
water
if you
can't
think
detect
about
the
it-
curve of the Earth. Water, like I said, water conforms to forces acting on it. So the only thing that water is detecting is gravity.
Okay. So, for example, say,
What about
say a
what about
thousand
Jarenism
scientists.
and okay, go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was gonna say real quick. So, if 1,000 scientists say, the theory of gravity is true and correct, unless they can prove it in science, it's a belief, correct? It's a religion, basically. Unless they can prove gravity exists, it remains a theory. It remains a religious belief, correct?
Yeah, and gravity has been proven many times.
Yeah, like for instance, Jaren and
how?
Bob just fought over a gravimeter the other day,
I mean,
where basically Bob was saying, I don't want to call it gravity, but there is a downward force, which I would call it gravity. But and they had a piss fit over this together the other day. It's actually on one of my latest videos. I put a little snippet of it in there, but it's beautiful because he says, okay, Jaren, why does it read a different thing on different parts of the planet for gravity? And he's like, I don't fucking know. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting, actually.
Interesting, indeed.
Yeah, it was interesting. And
That leads to another question.
didn't he prove rotation too recently?
Oh yeah, Bob definitely proved rotation. I mean, we
And then tried to lie about it to don't tell anybody.
I have another question for you guys.
Yeah,
Craig,
sure.
please. I have another question for you. It revolves around what I'm speaking about here with gravity. So, this supposed spinning water rocket ball that we live on, okay? The supposed spin, the rate at 1,100 miles per hour at the equator. What is the speed at the so-called North Pole? The spin. How fast is it spinning up there? Supposedly?
0.00064 pm.
Okay. The question here is, how does gravity work on the North Pole compared to, say, the equator?
It works exactly
Do
the
things
same.
drop at the same rate?
What's
What's that?
So here's the thing. There is a slight difference in the gravitational acceleration. Right. Let me explain the answer before you interrupt.
Your toast, Worm. Sure.
Right.
Your toast.
There is a slight difference in the gravitational acceleration that can be measured on different points of the planet. And that is because the Earth is not a 100% perfect sphere, and also that we have to take into account the centrifugal acceleration that is caused at, say, the equator compared to the North Pole. For instance, you can take something way at the North Pole, take that same thing to the equator, and it will be a different weight. Very, very slightly, like 0.0001% or something. Because at the North Pole, the centrifugal acceleration is practically zero. Whereas at the equator, the centrifugal acceleration is 0.03% of the gravitational acceleration, meaning that there is a slight difference in the net sum of forces.
Okay, Craig, I'm going to follow up with this. Now, say, for example, someone's at the North Pole and someone's at the equator looking at the night sky. Should we see the stars? Should each individual at each different location see the stars spinning at different speeds, yes or no?
So I'm just trying to visualize.
That's the third one. I got you, man.
Worm,
I got you.
So
Worm, you are.
So at
shut
the
channel
equator, the apparent drift, I guess, would appear to be different, but again, the spin of the Earth, right? I'm spinning this right now, the same speed the Earth is spinning. Same speed, exactly. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Worm.
Okay.
Worm.
It's exactly the same speed as the Earth is spinning in real life.
My point is this, Craig. At 1,100 miles an hour at the equator, say, for example, you're in L.A., it's about 900. You travel up. Shouldn't people in different parts of this ball Earth, from the equator going all the way to the so-called North Pole, see the stars move at different rates? That's the point I'm trying to get here.
No, I mean it's 15 degrees per hour regardless. Is what I think you're getting at. Yeah. So you literally it moves at 15 degrees per hour. Is the best answer I can give you.
But is he talking about because at the pole you're doing like? Is he talking because at the pole you're doing more of a carousel kind of thing? Because by the way, I've been to the Arctic myself, and I've watched the sun do the big circle thing. So
right. I just want to take a slight segue and talk about this Star Trek logo on the moon.
A deer print.
Right?
Deer print. Sorry.
Now that is not the Starfleet badge in any way. Okay,
that's a vector. That's a chevron.
Yeah, but it's not. We're not changing. 33 made the claim that the Star Trek logo is on Mars.
Can you pull up the Star Trek? Can you pull up the Star Trek logo?
Yeah, absolutely. Because right. Let me get a good one. Right.
Well, that's a great segue to what I want to talk about.
Disney right now is performing spectacularly too. By the way, just coincidentally,
yeah,
I'm sure
they are. You're right.
Craig, I want you to share the Lockheed Martin and the Russian Mir logo, their military, from the cosmonauts, their military patch. I want you to put those side by. You don't do it side by side, but flip back and forth between each one.
Okay, let me just get this one up.
Mir. Yeah, the Mir patch and the Lockheed Martin, of course, NASA subcontracts to Lockheed Martin. So it's very relevant, dealing with space, so-called space travel.
Right. So here's the actual Star Trek logo. Right. You'll notice that on the bit that's coming down on the right, it is kind of pointing off at a different angle to the bit at the left, and there is no like jagged bit. And let's go back to this. You see the bit on the left the bit on the left is much thinner compared to the actual logo.
I mean,
there's this massive like lump on the bottom bit, and it looks just like it trails off into a bit of thinness there. I mean,
the only thing, as I will say, is that yes, that's obviously not the symbol, but I mean, you gotta admit that's fucking damn close, and I'm not giving it to them.
It looks similar, but there's a thing called Pareidolia. My point is that Pareidolia is a thing, right?
But Craig, by the way, you know what?
Pareidolia.
Craig, hold on, Craig. Craig, do me a favor. Actually, you know what? If you could show the image that I sent of William Shatner giving
but can I tell you that also looks like a deer print, like, to a degree.
Kind
so
of.
I mean, come on, like let's
move on to the Shatner talking about.
Is it a throwing? Maybe there's throwing stars. Maybe there's throwing stars or pieces of like arrowheads.
That's not a star, pal. That's not a star. Yeah, I want to explain this. I want to break this down real quick.
I'm just being a dick.
I know.
All right, go ahead, break it down.
Yeah, I want to break this down. Okay, there's a audio clip I played many times on my channel with William Shatner talking about. He was asked about science. And is influenced with Star Trek, with science. He was asked, what is, your involvement with Star Trek over the years? He was asked in an interview with astronomy.com about this, about the relation with science and science fiction. And his answer was, they're both the same. And in this convention here, he's asked about black holes. And he goes, how can we trust what they're saying about black holes being real? It's all theoretical. It's all science fiction. Look behind him. Yeah. Now look behind him. What do you see behind him?
Right. What I see behind him is the airlock hatch which appears to be from an NCC 1701B. I'm not sure.
Well, hold on, Craig. What I'm getting at is look at the door behind him as he's speaking. This is the concept of duality, where they're gonna give us truth in movies, music, and light to us in the news and science. So he's playing a role on the world stage. Hold on, Craig. I want to just get this up real quick.
Right.
Look behind him.
Let him finish for him.
Yeah. Look at the door behind him. You see that 3 on the door? Then you see the 3 slashes coded for 33. And the
you know what? Oh, you know what I don't see? Hold on, 3 is 1 3, and I don't see a second set of 3 slashes, so that is just 3, my fucking friend. And then even in Roman numerals,
that's 33.
So for you just to generate,
in what way is that 33? There is just 3 slashes.
There's 3. That's never been 33. That is 3. If you were ticking on the wall how many years you were in prison, that is a fucking 3.
Yeah. Okay.
33 isn't there. Here's the main thing, right? You're saying about, oh, look at him sitting there in front of the Star Trek thing. He's at a fucking Star Trek convention. Of course,
he's
he's
an
going to be
actor.
sitting.
I mean, he's
Now
definitely the
listen,
authority on space. I
And
can tell you that.
back to your thing about science fiction and science being the same. Well, here's the thing, that Star Trek, the new series, Discovery, actually has a team of 37 scientists that talk to them about physics and stuff. So, yeah, a lot of science fiction is science because they want to try and make things as real as possible. And also, here's another thing. Look at this. What's in my hand? All right? When did you first see something like this? I'll tell you when. In Star Trek. In the original series. That's when you first saw something like this. So, yeah, science fiction can be reality.
So there's a curve.
Now,
I got you. I see what you're saying.
I want to point something else out here. I want you to show the photo of the Astrodome inside the Astrodome. Craig, please.
Astronaut inside the Astrodome. One sec. Which one was that?
These are very important facts I'll get into. You can see the baseball field within the dome.
Oh, that one. Okay, right. 2 secs. I'll just get that loaded in.
Yeah. And I'll break it down once you get there. Once it's presented on the screen. Okay. I want to explain this in detail. Okay, this is in Houston, Texas, okay? This is for the Houston Astros. Before it was the Houston Astros, they were the Colt 45s. What happened was this. They turned this into a space-age baseball team. And this is the very first dome stadium ever built in the world. Now, what do you see here? The construction. It's a glass ceiling. You see the rainbow seats underneath the dome. Okay?
Okay.
So what you have here is basically the whole concept of the world we live in, right in plain sight. The firmament above, as stated in the Bible, is made of glass. You know, every concept in the rainbow
There's a lot of steel on that glass roof.
Right. Let's talk about the firmament. Let's talk about the firmament. All right.
Greg, I wanted you to go to the next photo.
Oh, the next photo. There was another one. Was there? Which one now?
Which arena was that?
I want you to go to. Yeah, I want you to go to the photo of the female over the dome, wearing the red outfit.
The female over the dome.
Yeah, she's over illuminated dome. It's like blue with the sun and moon inside.
Oh, the queen from V.
Yes. Now.
I mean,
very
I've
important.
I've got to say that I thought the reboot of V was better.
Oh,
but
V.
People disagree with me.
I don't know how I felt about the V anythings because that's a little bit. Well, you're the same age as me. Fight. What the hell were you doing watching V?
I love science fiction, man.
Isn't that 80s?
Yeah,
when was V out? Okay, when was
I think
it?
the original V was out in early 80s.
84.
Okay,
Yeah,
it looks very
I was
80s.
born
There's a lot
in
of-
83.
I mean, look at that hair, right?
83,
Yeah.
84. Yeah. Now let me get to the point of this. I talk about TV being programming, but within all the programming, they're going to have Easter eggs of truth. Now, these are supposedly alien invaders from another world bringing vaccines to cure cancer. Okay, these so-called aliens from another world. Now, this scene here, what do you see? The Supreme Leader, Diana, hovering over a glass dome. You see the constellations, if you get a zoom in. You see the constellations on the dome itself. You see the sun and the moon within. You see the circular motion. You see the four corners. Okay?
But
This is
you
the
realize-
flat Earth.
Wait, let him finish. Let him get it out.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Now-
my bad.
now-
my bad. You're right.
Now go to the next photo with William Shatner as an astronaut.
1 sec. I'm just putting slow mode on the chat, and then I'll do that.
Okay? This is very
I
relevant.
think we should take.
It's all
I
gonna
think
connect.
we should take questions from the chat later. They're all fired up.
Later,
Yeah, we will.
I'm happy
wanna-
to take questions from the chat later. What was
absolutely.
the next photo, Russian? Sorry.
Yeah, William Shatner in the astronaut's uniform with the moon behind him.
Okay.
It's very pertinent, very relevant to the
I love females.
the alien female with the dome and the sun and the moon within with the circular motion. Now, this is very important. This is from the $6 Million Man that aired in the early 70s, right after Star Trek. This is Duality. he played an astronaut in a $6 million Man. He went into space supposedly saying, and they're asking, what do you see? He goes, I see Earth. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, it's flat as a table. Now, guess what? Why is this all relevant? Why does this all matter? The same creator of the $6 million Man created V for Visitors. So you see these people, these enlightened ones in Hollywood, are just rubbing in our faces about the truth. So it's funny how William Shatner, the man that's traveled throughout all these universe, the universe and deep space, he's now playing an astronaut that sees the Earth as flat.
Right.
So you see the connection. He's the creator of both these series.
I've got a counter to that. Could it be that space travel was exciting and Star Trek was a success, so people thought, you know what, I might make some more space stuff and put it on TV?
Sure, if you live in fantasy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but people live in fucking fantasy world. We're talking to you two.
So that's what
science fiction is. Science fiction is fantasy land. That's the thing.
But that's the thing. It is. It's fantasy.
Reality from fantasy land.
Okay,
but you're looking at, but you're pointing out. You're pointing at fantasy land. Yeah, but you're pointing at fantasy, and
you say, look, there's curve, and then I say, so you mean that's the size of the Earth if we follow that curve?
And then you bring out a fucking movie clip, because apparently that's evidence.
You hear what I said? Hold on, guys. You don't understand duality. They give us truth in movies. They give us truth in movies. They also, within other programming, they give us Easter eggs of truth.
That's because you have to make things slightly believable. Right? Yeah. If you're talking about the plot of a TV show, what are you going to be more connected to? Something that is completely out of the realms of possibility, or something that might have a possibility of you being able to be part of it? What are you going to want to watch more?
That's why actually some of the most successful ones.
You think Bigfoot's
Dude, stop talking to yourself.
You think Bigfoot's real, Worm?
I've never seen Bigfoot, so I wouldn't know. But I don't think that there is some kind of Yeti walking around now.
There's so far not been any evidence of it.
Yeah.
So you guys, you leave the possibility that there's a Bigfoot out there. That's what you two were going to tell me.
There's never been any. Well, if they found evidence that was actually evidence, then I would believe them. But they haven't yet. Anyway, all the tough, no.
Roaming all corners of it, or all parts of the globe.
33 stop. Your argument here is that I've never seen Bigfoot, therefore it might be real.
Well, I'm trying to say
I'm not saying that I think Bigfoot's real. I'm just saying that there's never been any evidence that Bigfoot is real, and I've never seen any evidence that it isn't real. Apart from the fact there's no evidence that it is real. So, I can't give you an answer of is Bigfoot real, because I really don't know. There's no evidence about it.
Listen, if somebody shot one tomorrow, 33, dragged it in, and they cut it open, it was all over the news, all of a sudden they were like, look at this, there's Bigfoot. And then we found the den of them and stuff. Guess what? Bigfoot, I guess, exists.
It doesn't happen.
Well, exactly, which is why I don't believe in Bigfoot, you dumb fucker.
And guess what? You're not going to Mars either, pal. Or the moon.
I never said I was.
Or anywhere else. You can't. It's not possible. You can't leave here. You can't just leave here.
Right. I need to go and use the toilet, but when we get back, when I get back, I would like to talk about the firmament.
Oh, you're going to abandon me.
I'll literally be 3 minutes. Right, I'm just going to use the toilet. Back in a minute.
Oh, I mean, all I would say to that is the argument I heard was Bigfoot, therefore satellites. Because, I never said I believe it.
You guys think that there's satellites roaming around everywhere, and that they have a beat on the entire world, and that's why we have all these phenomenal pictures. And then in the same,
they don't just take pictures, though. They do
in the same breath, you say, yeah, there might be a Bigfoot out there that he's so elusive, we can't find him, even with all these satellites roaming about.
They found little pygmy people that lived in fucking caves only 2 years ago. They didn't know existed either.
Well,
so they find out new stuff all the time. Go look it up, man. Go look it up. They're like little Smeagol. They were like little Smeagol-looking motherfuckers that lived down in caves or something. At some point, they found their bodies, and I'm telling you, man. I'm just saying, if you find facts. I mean, that's all I'm saying. If you find evidence, if somebody said there was a Smeagol that lived in a cave, I'd say, well, that's maybe. I mean, if show me something. And then the guy dragged one out. Well,
right,
you have to go do some research. You guys love doing internet research, so go fucking start Googling.
Well, I
Okay,
mean,
okay.
you can't say that there's satellites everywhere, and then in the same breath say, well, there's an elusive creature out there that not only has no one stumbled across.
We didn't
but
say that there is. We said
No one
there's no
said
I never
evidence
said
of
they
it.
did. You did.
We literally
did.
said there's no evidence of it.
Well,
Right.
you
Now,
guys
there's
are
no
saying
evidence.
now
there's
let's
a
move on
possibility
to what I would love to talk
It's
about, the
insane.
firmament. So
It's not reality.
Can I assume that both of you think that the firmament is a thing, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So that
Why not?
means we're in an enclosed system, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So can you please explain to me why there's a pressure gradient in the atmosphere?
Explain.
Of course, just like the bottom of the ocean, it's going to be, more, intense, stronger as you get down to the bottom of the ocean. Basically, crushed bones. You get
Okay,
deep down
all right.
enough, and as you get closer, hold on, Craig. As you get close to the
Oh, you
surface,
mean
the pressure's
pressure.
less. Just like
Oh.
when you're at the very top of the surface of water, and then you go up in the atmosphere.
Brilliant, right? That helps me with my question for you, because there is greater pressure at the bottom of the sea. There's the pressure gradient. So why is there a pressure gradient? You're just saying, oh, well, there's a pressure gradient in the sea, so there can be a pressure gradient in the atmosphere. Why is there pressure gradients at all? What is creating that pressure gradient? Forget about the sea for now. We're just talking about the atmosphere.
Force. It's force.
A force.
It's
a
like
force.
this, Craig.
Wait. So a force. What force is creating that?
Well, let me give you an example. Okay, it's the weight of the water above the water underneath it, of course.
Brilliant. So,
for example, hold on. You get listen to me. This is a very simple thing. You get a freaking bucket of water, right? You put like 4 holes. You put holes towards the top. You put 2 holes towards the top. You put 2 towards the bottom.
Yeah,
it's gonna come out more powerful.
And
you're
proving my point. You're proving my point, because the force, the weight of stuff pushing down, that is gravity.
Yeah.
All right.
It's weight. It's weight. It's not gravity. It's freaking weight.
Okay. Right. So what is weight?
Density.
No, density is density is mass per unit volume.
We've gone over this already, Worm.
No, weight is not density.
Worm,
density is mass per. Stop talking. Stop talking. Right. Density is mass per unit volume, so weight cannot be density. What is weight? The answer is weight is mass times an acceleration. The acceleration is 9.8 meters per second squared on Earth. You don't weigh anything. You have a mass. The weight is gravitational. Stop talking. The weight is the gravitational acceleration acting on your mass, which is why if you were on the moon, you would weigh less, because there is less gravitational acceleration acting on your mass. So you're saying that the air above weighs and is pushing down. Well, what is pushing down that air above? Why does it weigh something? Why is there a force with a direction towards the Earth? Density can't answer that, because and the reason density can't answer that is we know that force doesn't just act towards the Earth. There are many experiments, 2 I can mention right now, Cavendish and Shachelian, that both show that gravitational acceleration acts in every direction based on mass attracting mass. There isn't just a downward force. That's the prevailing force on Earth, because that's the biggest mass we have. But there is experiments to show that gravity is literally mass attracting mass. So density cannot explain why something would attract sideways. So no, density isn't weight.
Let me answer this, Craig. Let me answer this, Craig. So, for example, you get some dude that weighs, say, 150 pounds sitting on a chair, and you get some fat slob saying weighing 500 pounds sitting on a chair, and that chair breaks. What's gravity? It's
gravity,
weight. It's weight.
Yeah. That weight is caused by his mass having a force acting on it, right?
Craig,
listen.
The thing is, the problem is, if you guys don't believe that the stuff that we have evidence for is real. So for you, everything weighs what it weighs because you live on this flat plane that doesn't fucking change anything. But when you deal with bodies of different mass, i.e. in space, what happens is you go to another object like the moon, and even though your mass is the same because the quantity of whatever you have there is the same, what you actually weigh changes because the gravitational pull of that object is different. That's why when you see the videos of landing, you guys,
here, Craig.
it looks like a butterfly.
Craig, I want you to see this. I want you to share this, by the way, when you get a second, please.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. I mean, I think you've made it clear that you don't understand what force is. But so
I want you to, yeah, it connects to what I was saying about the moon. We'll get back to that. I was looking for this photo. I'm sorry I sent it a little bit late, but I want you to share this photo with Bill Clinton, My Life, from his official book released in 2004. And I want you to read what he says here, please.
Save images. Go there. Let me just get it on the screen.
Yeah, please share that. Take your time. And yeah, it's very brief, Craig. It's not a whole drawn-out thing. It's a very brief thing to
Okay,
read.
so it says, American President Bill Clinton, in his 2004 autobiography, My Life, states on page 156, just a month before Apollo 11, astronauts Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong had left their colleague Michael Collins aboard Spaceship Columbia and walked on the moon. The old carpenter asked me if I really believed it happened. I said, sure, I saw it on the television. He disagreed. He said he didn't believe it for 1 minute, that them television fellers could make things look real that weren't. Back then, I thought he was a crank. During my 8 years in Washington, I saw some things on TV that made me wonder if he wasn't ahead of his time.
Ha! How
What
do
do you
you
mean,
like
ha?
them apples? They're
Bill.
hinting. They're hinting to you, Craig. Can you read between the lines? They're hinting to you. Things on TV can be faked, and he saw things on TV.
Yes,
that made him
I've seen
see that
things
he
on
was ahead of his
TV.
time.
Of course, things can be faked. I'm not denying that CGI and everything is real. But in
There we go.
1969, in 1969, when they went to the moon, that technology did not exist. It would have been harder to fake what happened than actually what happened.
Craig, I'm glad you said that. I want you to segue what you told the 33 last time you spoke with him about why they don't go back to the moon. And I want to respond to your answer. I remember your answer, but I want to respond to it. Go ahead and say it again.
I mean, apart from the fact they are going back to the moon, but as far as I'm aware, the reason why
Why haven't they?
The reason why they haven't gone back to the moon in the last 50 years is because, well, the interest in what was going on was lost, and therefore funding was lost, right? If you look at the amount that NASA was getting during the moon missions, that got severely cut towards the end, so much so that there wasn't the funding for them to go back to the moon. Also, they'd pretty much done everything that they could do on the moon. They collected all the data that there was no benefit for them at that point to go back to the moon. Whereas now we are going back because there is a benefit in that it is a much better place to stage missions for further into the solar system.
Okay, Craig, thank you for your response. Now I want you to cite that from NASA themselves, them saying that. Now, you said this is what you're saying. I want you to cite that, exactly what you said. It doesn't have to be verbatim, but basically, you know, where you can sum it up, cite it where they're saying, where NASA states this. Please.
I mean, you could just do this research yourself. Like,
well, can you just cite, like, for example, just, you know, you can take your time. You don't have to answer right now.
Worm, where do I donate?
Stop,
today?
stop calling me, stop talking
today.
to yourself, dude.
Worm.
Yeah.
Where do I donate? Because this has been way too much fun tonight. I think I have to donate to you.
You can
I didn't
super
expect to
chat.
have this much
Yeah,
fun
there's
today.
a super chat button.
I got to admit, Craig,
do a
this has been
super chat, and then you
complete
can talk to the
slaughter
fans.
Yeah.
This has been a complete slaughter tonight.
Oh, of course it has.
Tonight,
Right.
pal.
So,
Rush,
We're stumping you. I
it's been a
stumped you
pleasure.
4 times already tonight, pal.
He didn't want to talk the other day. I tried to bring up the Israeli.
Okay, Craig, while you're
crash.
looking that up,
okay, right, yeah.
Crash.
So
made
actually,
a
it was.
33-foot
Here we
crater. You
go.
wouldn't believe
Dr.
it. I
Edgar
don't know how they
Mitchell.
got the measurement. either.
Wait, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, one of the most famous astronauts in the history of NASA. He literally said that it was a lack of interest, a lack of money. Many people around the globe firmly believe what NASA was saying, but the interest in moon missions was lost. And I'll post the link to that in the description of this video.
Could we also hear
That
from
was
John?
literally
Okay.
just with a 2-second Google search. Okay?
okay, then.
love you,
I'm
Don.
glad. Thank you for that, Craig. I'm going to say this now. Now, I find it very interesting that a couple years ago, and I have a video on this, Donald Pettit states, I would love to go back to the moon. I would do it in a nanosecond, but we don't have that technology anymore. It's been destroyed.
Mhm.
Now, here's the problem with that. China, just last year, supposedly went to the moon. So China has the ability to go to the moon, but the U.S. doesn't. Don't you find that pretty interesting?
No, not really, because
The
they're going back to
Chinese,
the moon.
the
Right?
Chinese have the tech.
So
But
here's
they-
the thing.
but they
Here's the thing.
forgot-
Yes,
but they sent a
they
rover.
destroyed most of the technology that they used in the 60s and 70s because, frankly, what is the point in having a massive fucking
what-
rocket sitting
which
around that you
parts
aren't
did they
using?
destroy?
Stop talking when I'm
Which-
talking. 33, shut up.
Which parts did they
33, shut
destroy?
up.
We wanna hear
33, stop. When I'm talking, you don't. All right. So,
just-
what is
Let
the
him
point?
talk, yeah,
What is the
Frederick.
point in NASA having a bunch of massive rockets sitting around that they aren't using? They're going to scrap that shit. Okay.
Okay.
What
Craig,
it
how
was
about
is it
this?
wasn't. Hold on, and can I add this one
Yeah.
thing first? It wasn't.
Yeah.
It's actually not that they've actually made an F1B or whatever that rocket engine is. They've made a modern version of it, and what it is that it's not that they actually lost so much the plans to build it. It was that all the people that actually built them by hand had died, and what they actually lost was that there was like journals and logbooks, and these people had made notes where they were like, oh, make sure that this bolt is aligned to here because of this reason, and all of those individual little things that made those things individually crafted engines that worked like they did, those are what was lost. And so
The ones
building the
that
engine
work,
now,
the ones that
Well,
work
well, and the only
flawlessly.
thing, hold on, I want to finish. The only thing I want to finish is that you got to remember too, things do change in the way we build things, and believe it or not, and this is true, it's sometimes actually hard for us to build things that we used to build because nobody's tooled anymore. And so, yeah, you could do it, but it costs you so much money that it's stupid. We might as well just build something new instead of just trying to
Okay.
rebuild the old stuff.
Okay. Now,
Can
why
you
they're
cite
using the
that? What
shuttle
you're saying is
engines.
that's NASA's official explanation. Can you cite that?
right,
That
but
is
here,
NASA's
no, here's
official
the more
explanation.
important here's
I
the
can
more
find
important
that.
thing. Here's the more
I believe I
important
can
thing.
find that.
Here's the more important thing. NASA are going
He's gonna
back to
find
the
that.
moon. What do you say about that?
When?
2024.
Well, it's
Do-
like saying
do you want
this,
me to play
Craig.
the video?
Hey,
Do
I'm
you-
going to be
do you
a
want me to play the
millionaire in 2
video?
years.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, but can I
I
add?
just said
Can I add
I'm gonna be a
one?
millionaire in 2 years. It means nothing.
Okay, so
Can I
I'll
add
tell
one
you
thing
what.
to that about China, though?
Wait,
Can I add one thing
wait,
about
wait, one sec. In 2024, when they do what they say, will you stop being a flat earther?
I mean, he's
Or
gonna-
are you just going to call it
Here's
fake?
the thing is, they've been faking everything from the beginning. They're going to continue to fake
No,
it. So they're giving us.
you're making the assumption that
Can-
they faked everything. So you're just going to
Can I
continue
How
add
to
about
make that
this?
assumption.
Let's judge it when they actually supposedly do it, Craig. Share this one, Craig, please. Share the next
Can I-
photo I sent to you, please.
Okay,
Wait,
can I
I
add
appreciate
one
it.
thing?
let
that people
Brainy ask something
I want to
first.
add this one point, though, that people don't think about. When you think of the geopolitics of the planet, you got to remember that the reason that China, for instance, is able to build islands in the South China Sea and try to extend their reach, even though that's illegal in the terms of the UN and all that stuff, is because they're a communism, and America is, right now, let's face it, so far, we'll see what Trump gets up to, but so far it's a democracy. So the problem is, and let me finish before you jump in, the problem is that in America, when you spend money, you have to account for it, and there's raw. But in China, it's a totalitarian government. If they want to make something happen, they just fucking sign the check and do it. And you don't get an
They
option
should
to
have done it in the 60s then. Why don't they do it in the 60s?
Well, but this is why China's making so many gains right now, because they're buying Russian technology from Russia and they're using it to accelerate themselves into space, and they're doing it without telling their people, hey, it's going to cost you an extra $5 in taxes, because guess what? The people don't get to fucking choose there. They're just paying it.
Okay, when's the last time Russia
you
went
got
to
to
the
remember
moon?
there's a fundamental. But you just got to remember there's a fundamental difference between the geopolitics of how America operates and how China operates, and what China's government can do without really even asking their people and just saying it's for the good of our country. That's the thing.
Okay.
So
So
you're
they'll
telling
get up
me
the
here
thing.
that China's going to the moon. That China's going to the moon with Russian technology, but Russia hasn't been back to the moon. That makes absolutely no sense.
But they expanded on Russian technology, and the only thing I'm going to add to that is, why do you think America's so keen to go back to the moon? Hold on, why do you think America's so keen to go back to the moon now? Because China is suddenly showing a lot of interest, and I'll tell you another fact: China currently holds most of the lithium on the planet, and guess what? The moon's crust is rich in lithium. There is a good chance that the reason China wants to go to the moon is because they know that the moon is covered in lithium, and they want to own all the fucking lithium. Because guess what? When we don't have lithium, we cannot build batteries. So they will
okay,
own
that's
all
funny you
batteries.
say that because that's funny you say that because the Dutch government supposedly got some moon rock from the NASA astronauts, and they had a scientist look into it. They said it was freaking petrified wood. This is
We
an
went
NBC
into
So
the
they
report.
lied to them. Okay, so NASA didn't want to
we
give
went
them a
into-
moon rock, and they gave them a piece of shit. So then it just shows that NASA's a bunch of assholes. Really.
Okay,
On the
Craig, go to
last-
the next photo,
on the
please.
last-
I just sent you,
Yeah,
Craig.
I've got
Go to the
that
next
ready.
photo, please.
Craig,
Thank you,
Craig,
Craig.
the worm wormed
Now-
out of it. He wormed
Now, isn't
himself
it
right out of
funny?
Dude, stop talking to yourself. You're
Isn't
the
it
biggest
funny?
worm here.
Okay. Well,
Hold on,
you
guys,
want to talk
hold on,
about
guys.
worms, or do you want to talk about weasels, as in Neil deGrasse Tyson that plays a weasel in Ice Age? I mean, just so happens to be
Wow.
a weasel.
Wow.
I mean, I'm
Wow.
sure that's another coincidence, right?
I mean, if someone came to you and said, "Here's $100,000,
But why
will you
is
voice a
a
weasel?"
weasel?
Oh,
Why
yeah,
is
sure, no
not-
worries.
Why is he not something else? Why is he a?
Because that is the
There's a
piece that
reason for
that is the character that they wrote. I mean,
Of
stop
course.
making
Okay, hold on,
connections
guys.
where there
I
isn't
want to get
some.
into this right here. Hold on, guys. I want to get into this right here with the supposed record for astronauts being on the moon. Just so happens to be 33 freaking hours.
And?
Amazing.
Of course.
Now here's something funny I want to
Of course.
point out. You have Neil deGrasse Tyson stating Earth is pear-shaped. You have a Google engineer saying it's potato-shaped, but freaking NASA shows us these perfectly round spheres. What's up with that?
Russianvids, we've
Yeah,
gone
but
through this.
the
We've gone
Oblate
through this
is
before,
tiny.
right? You know me, and you have gone through this before. The difference between an oblate spheroid and a sphere, like
It's almost
No, I know that
literally-
when it comes to Neil deGrasse Tyson. But
Right.
what about the Google engineer who says it's potato-shaped? What about that?
People are
thing?
allowed to be.
I'm pretty
But, man,
sure
people
that
are
you're
allowed to be wrong.
I'm pretty sure you're referring to the gravity map that was done. But look at this, right?
I'm referring to
This might
Yeah, Craig.
this might look like a perfect sphere, but
Yeah,
even this
yeah.
is an oblate spheroid. All right, you can't tell.
What?
All right, it's not a perfect sphere.
Explain. Don't just say that.
It doesn't have to be
Explain.
like a squished orange. It just has to be a little bit not perfect.
Like a tiny bit, like 1 pixel
Okay.
difference. That's what it is.
Okay, so
And the potato thing, who cares what one particular guy at
Pear.
Google says? Like, they are being hyperbolic.
Well,
they
like,
are
for instance, I told
expanding
somebody-
what they're saying.
I remember saying to somebody, I said this to somebody the other day. I remember saying, I said on Sir Sick when I had him on a podcast I was doing. I said, I saw a car go by and I was like, man, you hear that thing's like 400 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, really? Oh, yeah, for sure. Like all of a sudden it's like 3 months later, you're like, man, you hear that thing has 400 horsepower? The guy's like, fuck that. It's like 180 at best. And you're like, what? I told a guy it had 400 horsepower. Fuck, I'm an idiot. Like, you're allowed to be wrong sometimes. Just because somebody says something doesn't mean that all of a sudden all of the facts based around that car are wrong. Like it doesn't exist. That car didn't exist because I got a fucking fact wrong. But like,
okay, I got another one
people
for
make
you here,
mistakes.
Craig.
Okay.
I got another one for you, Craig. I want you to share this one, please, if you can.
Yeah, sure. This is fun.
Thanks, Craig. I'm enjoying this. This has been a slaughterhouse.
Yeah, and I think the audience, can see which side has been slaughtered.
Yeah. But I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. This one's fantastic. 33, awesome work, pal.
Okay, now let me change that. Guys, just want to say, if you haven't used vMix as a streaming software, get on that shit. It's amazing. Right,
All right, Craig.
let's do
Take
that.
that one.
Whee.
All right,
I
here we
need
go.
more live stream donations for my vMix if I need
Now,
to
I
get
want to
it.
explain something here. We're supposedly this spinning rocket water ball traveling through space, spinning at 1,100 miles an hour while orbiting the sun at 70,000 miles an hour, while we're supposedly traveling at over 500,000 miles an hour through space. Now you look at the stars in the sky. I guess due to relativity, which just so happens to be only a theory, just like gravity is only a theory, just like the theory of evolution, just like the string theory.
Okay.
It's all
right,
theories.
right.
But I
You're-
guess if you put all these theories
You're
together, it makes
galloping a
facts.
bit there, RV. All right.
Hey,
So-
sorry, I stepped away.
so-
I stepped away, Russian.
So
Yes,
let
this has been a
me respond
slaughter
to
fest,
this
I agree.
particular
I
picture.
stepped away,
Okay.
but I was listening.
33
An
stop.
absolute
33
slaughter
stop.
fest.
33 stop.
Cheers, 33. Cheers.
Right. Let me respond to this
Cheers,
particular
cheers.
picture and why it's nonsense. Right. So imagine that you are small enough to fit on a penny, right? And that penny is on the bottom of it's on the floor in your room. Okay. And you're going to spin that penny really fast. And then you're going to move that penny in a circle that is the size of your room. At any time, is the position of the light on your ceiling going to have changed?
Well, we're not talking about one fixed light. We're talking about multiple lights in the sky.
Okay.
So that's apples and oranges, pal.
And that actually helps with my point, because the thing about all the lights in the sky, the stars in the sky that you see at night, okay, they are all in a tiny portion of the Milky Way galaxy with us, moving through the Milky Way galaxy with us. So they are maintaining their relative positions to us. So you're not going to expect to see them spinning all over the sky, because they are moving through the Milky Way galaxy, orbiting the supermassive black hole at the middle, the same as us.
Okay. I want to ask you this then. To follow up on that, I asked this to McToon. He couldn't answer. He was completely confused. He was completely lost. and basically he was humiliated, embarrassed. I'm going to ask you the same exact question. Now, with the orbit, supposed orbit in this heliocentric model, where you have the ball Earth and the sun, for example, pointing towards the night sky, say in winter, now it makes its orbit all the way around the sun. Say in summer, look at the night sky in a totally different direction. So how do we see the same stars night after night when obviously...
Dude,
Go ahead.
you see different stars throughout the year. You realize that, right?
The constellations have remained the same for year after year, decade after decade,
but
century
what
after century.
stars you can see like change throughout the year? Like there's a
Russian, you
progression
got
of
to
what's
keep
going
it
on in the
basic.
sky.
Yeah, he's going to try and worm out of things like this. This is what I mean.
didn't.
Well, this
Yeah,
is 6 for 633. We got him 6 for 6 here. Stop him again.
Oh, wait, 6
The
33.
second you
Definite
put him in a
conspiracy.
corner, he tries to worm out.
So
fast.
so
It's unreal. It really is.
the
It's
sky.
fun to watch.
You see different like stars in the night sky throughout the year. I mean, I don't know what your point is.
What I'm getting at, Craig, is this. Please comprehend and understand what I'm telling you. You should see a completely different set of stars. All of them should be different. Not one. All.
No, not
this?
all of them, because the Earth's a sphere, so you're still going to see lots of stuff.
Worm?
Craig.
Worm,
Craig.
are you paying attention?
Craig, are you freaking kidding me? Are you out of your freaking mind? Do you understand the ball is supposed
the
to on the other
constellations
side
change.
of the sun?
That's what I'm trying to say to you. The constellations change.
Direction.
The constellations change during the year. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Yes, you're right. You see different stars because you're pointing in different directions. I'm not disagreeing with you. That actually happens.
Same Big Dipper. We see the same freaking Polaris. How about this? You get one of these goons in here that are talking a lot of garbage. Why don't they join in? Have these goons come in.
You know what?
The ones that never speak, that know so much.
I agree.
How about this, Izzy? How about Izzy joins in? It shows how much intellect she has, or he has, or whatever it is. Maybe he's a transgender. Get that person. Get in here. Get him in, the coward. You want to talk big?
Who are we
Join
talking
in.
about right now?
Let's forget about the chat and just stick
Let's
with
big
us,
mouth
guys.
in the chat.
Let's
Join in.
definitely get some chat.
But again,
Coward.
I'm tired of these guys talking.
You're right that you do see slightly different things throughout the year. Constellations kind of change in the sky. Well done, that happens. But you still see some things like Polaris all year round because it's in alignment with the axis of our rotation. However, when you check historical almanacs of positions of stars in the sky, they have changed. There is records of the stars and their positions in the sky actually changing. It's a thing that happens. So,
well, like if you look at old star maps versus new star maps, they've always moved. In fact, they account for it in history. They talked about it moving.
Yeah, and there's like almanacs going back years that like literally show they log the positions of the stars in the sky.
Craig, let me ask you a simple question, Craig. So, for example, in winter, when the freaking ball Earth is, during the night, we see, for example, Saturn, Jupiter, all these so-called planets that are nothing more than stars. So again, when the freaking ball Earth is on the other side of the sun, looking at a completely different direction, how do we see Saturn and Jupiter looking at a completely different sky in a completely different direction?
Hold on.
Can you explain that, please?
I want to
Go ahead,
ask
Benny.
you why you think there's stars, though, because I have taken a telescope, been like, oh, that's Jupiter based on the star map. And yeah, it looks like a star until you zoom in. And then you see Jupiter and moon.
Okay.
And you realize that
you understand the difference between analog and digital telescope? Hold on.
You realize that Jupiter is in orbit as well, right? You realize that Jupiter is orbiting the star as well, so you're going to be able to see it at different times of the year and stuff. Like,
and sometimes not other times of the year.
Yeah, your points here are you see things, but you shouldn't. But yeah,
but I'm curious as to what Russianvids. I am curious as to what he has to say about me being able to zoom in and see Jupiter, though, with my own, like, look at it, go, that's Jupiter, and zoom in.
Yeah. I'll answer that, Beaver. I appreciate the question. I want to ask you this. You know the difference when you look through an analog telescope compared to digital, right?
Well, because my telescope isn't digital, so, okay, yes, absolutely. Mine bounces it off the mirror, and I use... Digital's taking an image. Digital is going to take an image, compile it, turn it into a thing, feed it to a computer or a display screen, something like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about lenses, mirrors, and eyepieces is how I've done it. Okay?
You're not answering my question, Beaver. Beaver, you're not answering my question. I asked you if you know the difference between an analog telescope and a digital telescope.
Well, I just said the
If you don't know,
difference.
just say you
One's
don't know.
bouncing off. Well, okay,
What?
so then inform me what your difference you're talking about then.
Okay, an analog is a very basic telescope. When you look through an analog telescope, back in the early days, all you see is a blur in the sky. You don't see any
Okay,
definition.
but hold on. An
With a
analog
digital-
telescope is just a lens and a mirror and then another lens, dude. It's a lens with a
Okay,
refractory mirror.
why didn't you answer
and
that
it
when I
bounces
first
off
asked
to a
you
lens.
then? Why are you answering
Okay,
after
but
I gave you the answer? Why are you
That's what I
answering
said,
after I
Russian-
give you the answer? Why don't you ask?
Russian
Why don't
Vids,
you
get
answer it after I
the-
asked you
get the
twice?
cum
You
out
didn't
of your
answer it.
fucking
Now you're
ears
answering it.
and
Who
listen
is-
to what
who's
I
All
say.
feeding
right,
you information now?
gavel,
Who's feeding you
Hey,
gavel,
information?
hold
stop,
on.
stop, everyone stop.
Am I in a different
Everyone-
fucking world? Did I not just say that fucking to him?
RV,
What
he's
planet
just
is he?
Lego
I
2.0.
asked you the
He's
freaking
Lego
question. You
2.0.
dismissed it
I
twice.
said it
Who's
bounced
feeding you
off
information
mirror.
now?
He's
Jesus
Lego
Christ.
Why don't you
2.0.
answer that
Are
after
you,
the
are you
first two
suffering
times I
from
asked you?
Mandela? Hey, are you suffering from Mandela
Right.
effect or what?
Right,
Because you
right.
didn't hear what I said the first
Right,
time?
all right, everyone stop, everyone stop. There's
Hey,
shouting.
so here, the thing I wanna say is
Brainy, please, everyone.
was on a-
Gavel,
Yeah,
gavel,
it's
gavel.
getting out of control. It's
Stop.
getting out of control.
Yeah, but
Right,
he's trying to
explain
point out
it.
the difference because he thinks I'm using a digital telescope and I'm not. So if he
Right,
thinks
yeah.
it's some sort of trick of programming, that's bullshit.
Yeah, like a telescope is
All current telescopes are digital. Okay.
right.
Yeah, well, I don't have a current
Stop,
douchebag.
RV, that's wrong. I bought my daughter a telescope like for Christmas, and that is definitely not digital.
And why do
Well,
I
it's
have
probably
a
a
current
toy
telescope?
telescope.
Who said I have a current
It's probably a toy
telescope, Russian
telescope.
Vids? You're just putting shit out your ass.
It's probably one of those from Mattel or something, a little plastic one.
Oh, it's a Mattel. Yeah.
colored-
Oh, no,
No,
that's right. I got it.
it's-
I got it in a McDonald's bag. Actually, you're right.
Yeah, no,
Bottom line is,
I
Beaver,
spent
you could
like
answer
quite a bit
my
of money on getting a
question.
decent.
I asked you twice. You were
telescope.
stumped, and then all of a sudden you have the answer. I
I
find that very
answered your
suspicious.
fucking question, you dumb shit.
Not the first time,
Oh
not
my
the
God,
second
this is going to
time.
make the best
Yes, it
playback.
is.
This is going to make the best playback in the history
Okay, Eager
of
Beaver,
the
no
world.
problem.
Because I
Let's move
answered
on,
your
Eager
goddamn
Beaver.
question.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Let's move on, Eager Beaver.
Right, let's move on to other evidence that the Earth
That is
is actually a sphere. We know the Earth rotates, so how's
Of
that
course, because
possible?
you've brought so much evidence forward. regarding that.
I don't need to bring evidence. Bob Supernoodle Newton-Adele literally showed that the Earth rotates.
Listen,
Well, again, Bob. I like Bob. I like Glow Busters, but he doesn't represent us or represent me. That's 100%.
Whether
That's
he
not claims I'm making. The claims he makes are not my claims.
whether he represents you or not,
yeah, I only
isn't
speak for
the point.
myself. I mean,
Stop. Whether he represents you or not isn't the point. We're talking about the data that was gathered with the gyroscope that he was involved with. He doesn't have to represent you or not, but that data that he gathered showed that the Earth rotates at 15 degrees per hour.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that experiment. That's his experiment.
How don't you agree with it? What don't you agree with?
we don't
Because
agree
I know
with what he's
Dave
saying.
Murphy, well-known flat earther.
Yeah, I know.
Explained it many times how
Piss
gyroscope
drinker
works, and
extraordinaire.
he's a flat earther and disagrees with it.
Why?
Disagrees completely.
Please
Has a
explain
different
to me.
explanation.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm gonna play the clip because it explains quite well why
I've seen it.
says what it does. This is more for the audience, so just bear with me one sec.
Okay, sure thing, Craig.
All right, here we go, guys.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if the gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth.
Now, we all heard what he said there, right? If we can get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we can prove once and for all, that there is no rotation to the Earth.
One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15 degree per hour drift.
Now, I just want to go back to that bit again.
We would be able to prove only precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth. A 15 degree per hour drift.
I mean, that wrong screen. Sorry. That seems pretty conclusive to me, right?
Not to me, because I like Bob. I spoke with Bob. He's a cool dude, but I want to see this demonstrated. In words, to me, is not enough on both sides. If you're a glober or a flat earther, you have to prove what you claim.
But he did.
With words, but what I'm getting at is this.
No, not with just words. He used a tool that measures rotation.
Was that beyond the curve?
Well, that
Okay,
that particular bit was from beyond the curve, yeah. But it was
okay. If you're going to keep bringing up
flashing on the
beyond the
screen don't
curve,
prove anything.
whether it's beyond the curve or
If you
not
keep
isn't the
bringing
point.
up
I'm
beyond the
talking
curve,
about the
let's bring
data
up
that
the
was
numbers
gathered. 33.
let's bring
I'm
up the
talking
numbers,
about the
yeah.
data that was gathered, right?
Yeah,
And
the
the
data that was
data
beyond
that was
the curve.
gathered in that showed that there was rotation to the Earth.
was
That cannot be
that
denied.
That's a joke, man. What a joke.
Right,
I
explain
can't
how.
believe you're
If it
bringing that
cannot
up.
be demonstrated in the real world,
It
I
was
don't care about
demonstrated in
any-
the real world. That literally demonstrated it in the real world. Right? Now I
Yeah, on
want
the curve.
I want
He
33.
keeps playing
Right,
that.
stop. 33. I want you to tell me
Yes.
directly how that does not
Yeah.
demonstrate that the Earth is rotating.
Because I'm still waiting for you to show me how it does.
That video did.
Same here.
What part of that video? Talk during it, please. Talk over it and tell us. Explain to the viewer what you are talking about.
Did you not just
Go
watch
ahead,
the video?
Worm, play it and talk over it.
This is the
Explain it
same
like you're
fucking
in
thing
the
again.
I literally just played it,
No, we
paused
want
it,
you to break
talked
it down.
over it. Like you're asking me to
we
do
want-
something that I literally just did.
Worm, we
Hey,
want
explain
you
to me
break
how
it down.
fucking telescope
Explain it
works,
to
fight. Explain to me how fucking
Explain to
telescope
us
works.
Right,
how that
now-
means that we're going to
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question again, 33, because you dodged it like a motherfucker there. Well done, Worm. Right, so how does that
Yeah.
not demonstrate
you don't even
that
know
the
what
Earth
you're
is
asking.
rotating?
It doesn't make sense. You're bringing up videos from beyond the
If the
curve.
Earth
I
is
told
spinning
you.
in
All right, we need to
rotation
play it
every
again.
24 hours. That
Here we
means that
go.
every hour it has to
He always
turn
plays a
50
GIF
volt
when he
and
doesn't know
green
what to
lasers.
say.
You don't know
It's
what
like the
GIF
other
is,
day when I-
clearly.
when I-
Listen. Right, listen to
Just
the
like that
words.
corner you
Stop
the
and
other day,
listen.
and you-
Listen
and
to
you
the
pulled
words.
up-
33, shut up and listen to the words.
Gyroscopes, we would
No,
be able
no,
to prove
please.
once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth.
What is
Okay,
it?
so he says if we could get
Just
one of these
some
ring laser
idiot who's,
gyroscopes. Right, stop talking. You've asked
I'm
me to do
gonna call
this.
him an idiot.
Stop
I'm gonna
talking.
call him an
Stop
idiot.
talking.
Won't call him an idiot.
Stop
That guy's an
talking.
idiot.
33, shut
I'm
up.
gonna-
33, shut up.
Go ahead.
Right, stop talking.
What?
Right, his words, but there were if we can get a ring laser gyroscope, we can prove that the Earth does not
So-
rotate.
so-
Right, stop
so you
talking.
have a ring
So
gyroscope.
then they got a ring laser gyroscope, and it
Where's
picked
yours?
up the drift.
I don't want to hear
Power
about
drift.
it. Where is yours?
Okay, let me
does that
respond
right?
to this.
No,
Craig.
right,
Hold on,
wait,
let me respond to this.
wait, no, he's not getting away with this. I want him to answer the question. How does that not demonstrate that there is Earth rotating? How does
Because I
it
don't
not
understand
demonstrate?
how it demonstrates.
So
That's
you,
the
all right,
part
so
I'm
you want
talking
me to explain to you the function of a
Yes.
fiber optic gyro?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, right,
I
so,
want you to demonstrate to the viewers how that video demonstrated there's a curve. Please. I'm waiting for this. This is going to be good.
Pull up your pants, Craig.
yeah, I've got a big ass now. Right,
Craig's getting out paperwork to
Right,
explain to the viewers how
can
this
you
works.
can you see this?
You can't
Right,
explain
so,
it yourself?
well, I drew this myself. So
You're digging up files from your handlers?
So if you look
Or
at
what to
this,
say?
right, this one demonstrates that the. Let me actually put myself up there.
Worm.
Stop talking if you want me to demonstrate it. Where
I see
is
Magoon in the chat. Magoon didn't know the radius, diameter, or circumference of the ball was. What an idiot. But go
Right,
ahead,
Yeah, I
Craig.
would love to have
Okay.
him come on live.
So-
He was fun.
Look at this one, okay? Now from the top, light is emitted, all right, in both directions, and it has to travel.
What are we looking at?
I'm
What are we looking
explaining. This is the internal workings of a fiber optic gyroscope. Now just listen and stop interrupting, okay? So light is emitted from the top, okay, and it travels down these paths, and then meets up again in the middle, all right? And if the frequency of the light is all good, then you don't get an interference pattern. However, in this one, we're going to assume that the whole thing is moving this way, all right, with the rotation of the Earth, and that would mean that the light traveling along this way would actually do it quicker because the movement is changing the amount of time that it takes. And what that means is when the light gets to the bottom, there's an interference pattern based on the fact that one light has traveled, it's done the distance quicker because of the rotation. So the fiber optic gyroscope uses this interference pattern to measure rotation, okay? And that's exactly what it did. It measured the fact that the Earth was moving at 15 degrees per hour and showed the interference pattern that explained that. That's the function of the fiber optic gyroscope.
That's your proof? That's your proof form?
That is evidence that the Earth is rotating. Now, again, let me ask you this question once more. How does that not demonstrate that the Earth is rotating?
You know what? I really don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how to answer that because
so you don't know.
Even know
cool.
what you're
no worries.
Explain by showing me a triangle on a piece of paper. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I don't know what to say to someone who provides a demonstration like that, other than, he's just talking. Worm.
33. Let me jump in here for a second. 33. Yeah, let me jump in here. 33. First off, all we see is a CGI image of this freaking ball Earth. CGI image of this freaking gyroscope and some CGI digits flashing in the screen with Bob talking. That's not evidence of anything. I'm sorry.
Oh, right. Okay. So wait. Right? So the fact that he got the fact that they measured rotation of the Earth is nothing to talk about. Cool. You guys can just ignore that. I just explained to you. I just explained to you exactly how it measured the rotation of the Earth. So that's cool. So you can't rebut it.
He's speaking, he's narrating.
Craig,
monkeys flying through space and showing cartoon images of it. It doesn't mean it's true.
So you're saying if there's a demonstration of something, it doesn't mean it's true. So how can we actually prove to you that the Earth rotates if we're not allowed to use tools?
Like for instance, demonstrate why water flies off of your clothes when you put it in the dryer, but when you're on the spinning water ball, it all sticks together.
Because the Earth is spinning this fast.
Into a perfect sphere.
The Earth's spinning this fast.
Explain that.
The Earth's spinning this fast. That's why.
Yes.
Okay, Craig, can you explain how these freaking rivers are flowing up the ball?
They're not flowing uphill.
How is the Nile River? Hold on.
Right. Let me clarify one thing before you start. North is not up, and south is not down. Okay.
But Mrs. Moon is delusional while she's watching all that happen.
No, Mrs. Moon understands that direction's relative and isn't a mental case like you.
Why do they call the North Pole and the South Pole then? If there's no North and South.
I didn't say there's no North and South. And
actually, there's no up and down.
Up and down isn't North and South. That's what I said. And here's an interesting thing, actually. The North Pole is actually the South Pole, and the South Pole is actually the North Pole. When you actually look at the magnetic flux. But that's interesting.
Speaking of the North Pole, does it move year to year?
Does the magnetic North Pole, does it move?
Yeah, what they call the North Pole, does it move year to year?
I don't think so.
Well, the physical pole does not. Hold on, he's trying to catch you. The physical pole does not move, but the magnetic pole does.
Yeah.
No, they say it moves. They say it moves.
Yeah, the magnetic pole
not
moves.
the physical pole, because the ends of the planet don't move.
Yeah, the physical North Pole doesn't move, but the magnetic.
Let me just tell you something. If anything to do with your North Pole is moving 33 feet, I'd be suspect. Okay, that's all I want to get.
Here's the thing.
How magnetics work.
Because you don't understand.
Things are just moving around.
Stop.
33 feet.
Things are jiggling and shaking.
Guys, gavel.
You're always worried.
Gavel. Right, 33. Just because you don't understand something doesn't therefore make it fake.
No.
Okay.
As I said before, Russianvids breaks down Freemasonry very well on his channel.
I'm a Freemason.
If anyone wants to,
yeah.
You could be, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past you.
I'm a Freemason, and I'm part of the Illuminati. I joined on both their websites, so it was quite easy.
Well, if you are, why don't you tell us about space pirates? Because Ted Cruz was bringing up space pirates the other day.
Why don't we
address that?
Yeah, well, when I play No Man's Sky and I get an alert that there's space pirates, I can usually get some good resources from that.
What a garbage game! Fuck.
Oh come on!
Sorry, I don't like
No Man's Sky when it came out sucked, but
I was one of the people that bought it, and I was so disappointed because I had it early, and it's better now. And if I had it now, maybe, but they overpriced it, overhyped it. Fuck those assholes.
Sony ruined the launch, but
right, we're getting away from.
No, we're just that's us geeking out for 10 seconds. So moving on.
But getting back to Gyroscope,
Brainy, I should use No Man's Sky as proof of it can look flat and then you go into space, right?
Yeah, there you go. Craig, how about this, Craig? Craig, how about this?
They don't simulate gyroscopes.
Sorry, what about
gyroscopes?
Yeah.
For example, let me actually back up here. you know, when it comes to flight simulators, if you actually watch videos of flight simulators, I find it very interesting. There's no curvature being demonstrated in a flight simulator when pilots, you know, learn how to fly, of course. There's absolutely no curvature.
I've been in one, Russian. I can actually testify to that. I've been in one.
Yeah, my
been
brother's a
in one of
pilot
those
too.
$30 million flight simulators. I can testify to that.
Yeah, and in the real world, you know, when you're flying in a freaking airplane, it's called the airplane for a reason. It's flying through the air over a plane. That's why they call it an airplane. So with the gyroscope, you know, and how does it work after, for example, you're flying from San Francisco, say to Sydney, Australia. You know, explain exactly what's happening here, Craig, with the gyroscope, and why is the pilot always looking at the, you know, to keep the plane level, keep it level. You hear the flight instructors also, again, in the flight simulators, make sure you keep the nose up, keep it level. They're never going around. They never say, yeah,
right.
You're going around the curve. Let's put the nose down.
So here's the thing. Wait, stop. 33, shut up. 33, shut up. 33, shut up. 33, stop. Stop. I'm talking to Russianvids. Stop.
You never
Dude, you need to learn when to shut up. You are like a child. Be quiet. Shush. All right? Stop talking. Stop. Stop talking. Take a deep breath and just stop talking.
Is your internet going to die again?
No, stop. Good, well done. No, stop. Quiet. Good boy. Well done.
Unbelievable.
Right, so now when airplanes are flying, they don't need to point the nose down, because when an airplane is in the air, it literally flies in, I suppose you could refer to it as a pressure band. So once an airplane reaches cruising altitude, it's going to match its thrust with the lift created by the wings and maintain that altitude because of the pressure of the air outside. And that means that it would naturally follow the curve of the Earth. You don't point the nose down because planes wouldn't just fly off into space, because they need a medium in which to propel themselves. And most planes have a ceiling. And that means that there's a point where the thrust generated cannot be enough to kind of match out with the lift from the wings and everything, and they can't go any higher. So no, planes don't have to point the nose down to constantly follow the curve of the Earth. In fact, most pilots actually keep the nose pointed up slightly and stay within that pressure band, which allows the plane to follow the curve of the Earth. Okay?
Well, that's the problem, Craig, is you always hear from, again, the flight instructor, keep the nose up, keep the nose up.
I just explained to you about that.
You hear it constantly.
I just explained to you about that.
The bottom line is this. Again, Craig, hold on. Again, getting back to the supposed curvature of the Earth, at 16 miles, it's about a half a mile drop. So why are you keeping the nose up, even at a minuscule 16 miles relatively to a commercial plane flying at 500 miles per hour? That doesn't add up, Craig, whatsoever.
They keep the nose up because that's kind of the position that the plane flies the best in, when the net sum of forces of the balancing out the thrust and the lift generated by the wings. The plane just kind of naturally sits in that position. I mean,
naturally.
Because that's what, like, as I explained, the plane will fly based on the pressure of the air and how much thrust versus lift it can generate. So there's never going to be a point where it has to point its nose down to go over the curve of the Earth, because the plane is just following the curve of the Earth due to the fact that it's in a cruising altitude in a pressure band. Okay?
Okay, let me ask you this. I want to ask Eager Beaver and you, Craig, have you guys ever seen the curve of the Earth with your own eyes from an airplane?
Frankly,
I don't believe so. I mean,
I've never paid attention to it. Since I've been doing all this flat Earth, I've not been on a plane. So next time I'm on a plane, though, I will see what I see. But generally,
I just didn't give a fuck. That's my answer.
Generally,
okay. I want to respond with this.
Wait. I haven't finished my answer. I haven't finished my answer. Generally,
I jumped in.
Generally, you cannot see the curve of the Earth. But if it's a really good, clear day, then I'm pretty certain that you can. And Wolfie has got some nice videos that demonstrate that.
Well, here's the problem with that, Craig. As you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson stated at 128,000 feet regarding to Felix Baumgartner's jump, you wouldn't see the curve of the Earth from that height. So that's a total contradiction. Here's another contradiction. I don't want to mean to bring them up, but I actually called into the non sequitur, talked to Steve and Kyle. One said they saw the curve there from the plane. That's Kyle. Steve says I haven't been high enough. So I guess planes. I guess Steve flies in very low flying planes.
Planes have different
stealth planes.
altitudes. So
And
wait a minute.
Kyle
Wait a
flies
minute.
in planes that go very high in the sky.
But here's the thing.
Russian, I want to get back to the worm talking yesterday.
Stop
about how,
stop talking to yourself, dude. You're the one that keeps
Listen,
worming out of questions.
Worm, you were.
No,
you
I
were
think
talking
no. At
yesterday
this
about how
point, you are
Neil
Worm.
deGrasse- You and Lego were saying.
In fact,
how
I'm actually
Neil
going to
deGrasse
change your name on the
Tyson-
stream to Worm
What do you-
because that's
whatever,
exactly what you
wanna
are.
say. I don't care, whatever you want to put, pal. But the bottom line is, you said yesterday that Neil deGrasse Tyson knew what he was talking about. And
Yeah,
Russian
but
just cited
here's
him saying that you couldn't possibly see the curve. But
here's
in
the
the
thing.
same breath, you send a picture with two boats, and you're saying that that's the curve. That's the size of the Earth. We're looking at it fall out.
Oh,
from
again,
right
you're
there.
missing the difference between seeing the curve and
insane
seeing
is
the
that?
effect
That's not
of
what you're
curve.
saying.
All right, so
Craig,
Insane, Worm.
right,
Craig,
wait, Snow. Let me actually respond without 33 gish
Go ahead,
galloping
Craig.
like he
I
does.
apologize.
Right?
Go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
So,
Go ahead. Yeah.
what Neil deGrasse Tyson says doesn't really matter. He doesn't speak for everyone, and as Brainy Beaver pointed out earlier, people get shit wrong sometimes. Now, there is, like I said, if
You talked to
sometimes
him, right? You said you talked to him, right? You guys
I've
are
had
pals?
a little conversation with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Why
Yes.
don't you get him on the show? Get him on the show.
He's not really just going to appear on the show.
Oh,
I'm more
all
likely
right.
to
I thought
get
you guys were
George
pals.
Musser on the show first and then Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
If I got George Musser,
Get a three-way with both of them.
Aye.
Just kidding, sorry.
Well, if you guys were pals, I'd say get him on. But the way
you
you
know,
say it, you guys were buddies.
the point is that most of the time, yeah, you probably can't see curvature of the Earth from an airplane because, like, if you're an airplane, you're so close to the surface. Like, my finger may look like it's touching it, but there's a tiny, tiny gap, and that's like how high a plane flies above the surface of the Earth.
I think Sean Carroll should get on the show. He's talking a lot of nonsense in the chat.
Well, here's the thing: is correct. Yeah, 33. I want to mention this. So why is it people like, for example, and I hate to mention them, Reds and these types, they're like at the shoreline at Tampa Bay and seeing they can see the curve of the Earth. I guess you need to be lower. You need to be lower to the ground to see the curve of the Earth. If you're too high, if you're 35,000 feet, you can't see it. But you need to get lower. It's like me saying, oh, to look over a fence, I need to get lower. I'm too high. It makes no sense. Please give me a complete break.
Right. Again,
It's really
understand?
unbelievable.
Do you understand the difference between seeing the physical curve and then seeing effects of the curve?
Again, you should be able to see the effects from 35,000 feet if they can see it from ground at 6 feet high.
And
what is so hard to comprehend about this?
Okay, and if
I'm very,
if you're at 35,000 feet and you're able to zoom in on a boat on the horizon, then you probably would still see that same effect. But I don't think there's many airplanes that are taking pictures of boats at the horizon. Granted, the horizon would be a lot further away than if you were at the ground, because
I just want to know what are you standing by?
Dude, you're the stream knows you're the worm. It's next to your name, so stop calling me out.
Here's the thing is, Craig. Here's the thing is, when you fly an airplane, when even at 35,000 feet, the horizon is at eye level.
No,
you're
it's
sitting
not.
in your freaking seat. Yes, it is.
No,
it's been demonstrated.
Wolfie
single
Wolfie
time,
6020,
unless he's a camera.
Wolfie 6020, an actual pilot, showed us in the cockpit whilst he was flying that the instrument showed that the horizon does not rise to eye level. There's no fisheye lens in the cockpit. They've got a massive they can see everything, and their indicator actually shows that the horizon is below eye level. So no, proven by a pilot in the cockpit, horizon does not rise to eye level. It's also been proven by both Reds and Sean independently with their own drones.
Well, it doesn't jive with reality when you look at a freaking window in an airplane. It should the curve should be drastic with the minuscule supposed radius of 3,959 miles.
Minuscule?
The curve should be drastic.
You think that's minuscule?
It should be. Yes,
the Earth has a circumference of 25,000 miles. Do you know how to get from radius to circumference? Do you know how to calculate that?
Well, you have the radius, you have the diameter, you have the circumference. Okay, the bottom line is this:
it's massive. That's the
freaking
bottom
curve
line,
should be
Ivy.
drastic. You should
No, it shouldn't.
listen as
The
you
Earth
rise.
is massive.
Listen to me. At 3,959 miles for the radius, it should be a drastic. It should be a very noticeable curve when you're
No, it shouldn't,
35,000 feet
because
up,
that
and
still
you'll
makes
see
the
it.
circumference 25,000 miles. That's still the circumference of the Earth, which is fucking massive. So no, you're not.
Again,
it's
you're not
gonna-
listening to me, Craig.
I did.
Hold
I
on,
just
Craig. You're not listening to me.
responded.
No, because I told you at 60 miles, the curvature is approximately a half a mile drop.
1 degree.
At 60 miles.
1 degree.
So how far is the horizon, Craig?
1
when you're looking at an
degree.
airplane, how far is the horizon?
I could get the calculations up and figure out exactly how far the horizon is based
Okay.
on,
Well,
because
do that,
I've actually done it in videos before. There's a calculation that literally can like figure out how far away the horizon is based on eye level. But regardless of what you're trying to say, it all actually matches our model. Now, I want to point out here tonight that you guys have not brought any evidence of the flat Earth.
Well, Craig, I stumped you about 6-7 times tonight. That's pretty embarrassing.
You really
Yeah,
haven't
me.
stumped me at all. I've literally responded
It's
to
pretty
everything
gutting.
you've
It's
said.
pretty gutting. Why
Hey,
don't before
You didn't even
before we
hear me
finish
answer
off the slaughtering, why don't we bring on some guests that seem to think that they know what they're talking about?
We
Bring
can
somebody
take.
on.
How about we're not bringing people on because that's a massive hassle. But how about we take some questions from the chat? Guys, if you would like to ask any of these guys anything, please just put your questions in the chat now, and we will ask them some stuff. We'll let that go for about 20 minutes, and then we'll wrap up.
And Craig, one thing before you do that, before you read off anything, I want to say this real quick. We view the world without freaking cartoon NASA, without Star Wars, without Star Trek. We view the world as stationary and flat. We, just because you've been programmed at 5 years old, at 5 years old, you've been told we live in this. We're basically monkeys living on a spinning ball, but it's never been proven to us. That's why this so-called debate is alive. It's never been demonstrated that we live on this freaking spinning rocket water ball.
Apart from the evidence that I showed you today of both curve and rotation, of course.
Well, I don't think I see it.
When you're 4 years old, guys, there's a reason for that. If it was so,
you can't see. You can't see radiation, but how topical is it to say that the word Chernobyl right now and say that those people sure knew what radiation was afterwards, but they didn't see it. They couldn't go like, look at it whizzing by my hands. But just because you can't see something, just because you can't see it with your own goddamn eyes.
Right. Okay. Right, guys. Stop. Right, guys. We'll respond to some questions in the chat now. First one from Samcam. RV. How does an EQ mount work on the flat Earth?
The what work?
How does an equatorial mount work on the flat Earth?
Equatorial what?
An equatorial mount. An equatorial mount for a telescope that tracks on one axis and is literally only possible on a sphere.
They're trying to get cute, Russian.
Well, yeah. Show me. I'll explain, but show me an actual visual of this so I can get a real good idea of what you're talking about. Show me this.
Let me 2 secs. I can get something up about it.
Because if I explain it, I want to explain it as I show it.
Worm's explanation of which way he would come out on the ball Earth if he drilled a hole in it. That was that was good stuff earlier. I mean, can we get back to some of that?
Yeah,
can we revisit that? Can we revisit that? That is interesting. That's a very
there's a lot of gotchas in this one.
Yeah, for you definitely. That's right.
Greg, I got you about 7 times, man.
Apart from the fact that I've answered every single one of your questions.
I mean, he answered the questions just because
you never answered the one about digging from.
I literally did.
The one digging from China.
Apart from the fact that I literally did.
Yeah, but you guys fire off questions like a monkey on ADHD and roids at the same time. You got to slow down, take a breath, see the sights, and let people answer. He answered. And besides,
Greg never answered that one. For the record,
just like I never answered, I never answered your question about telescopes, right? Which that.
Yeah, well, I asked you 3 times before someone fed you the answers. It seems like. But the bottom line is this: there's not one single photo or video of a plane or a ship cruising up and down so-called ball Earth.
Why would there be?
Not one. Because to prove that we live in a freaking ball. That's why.
To shut this argument up, right?
Right. Okay. Wait. I'm getting up the EQ mount. like to try
Worm,
and
just
explain?
like 20, 30
So
Not
when this
one
playback,
video,
Russian
one
vids,
photo.
Russian vids, when this playback shows that I answered your question and then you were total bitch that didn't listen to me, are you gonna
After
take that
3
back? Or are you
freaking
just
times, who fed you the answers?
three
Beaver?
times? I
Worm.
answered you and then you didn't listen to me, dumb shit.
No, I asked
Worm,
you 3
speaker.
times. You're stumbling and bumbling before you answer after I answer the
Listen, just because your
question.
ears are blocked up with the old crusty cum,
No,
that's
man.
not my fault.
Right,
You gotta take
Brain
that out of there
dead.
before
You're just
you-
brain
Easy.
dead, man.
Take
So-
it easy.
Just
Right,
brain dead.
stop. Right, so here's basically how an EQ mount
Matter
works.
with you,
Right,
man?
it literally tracks
right?
on the one axis. It maintains its position relative to what's going on in the sky. And what you can set it at and just let it do its thing throughout the day, and it will track the one position. And it has to do this based on a sphere. It can't do it on a flat Earth. If you were to set up the EQ mount and the Earth was flat, it literally wouldn't work.
Worm.
Stop
So you're
talking
gonna have
to
some
yourself.
cartoon images. Some
Well,
cartoon images.
you asked me for an explanation.
I want a real
Worm.
world stuff, not some cartoon. I want real
Right,
world stuff.
Astronomy
Hold on,
Live has some
here's the
pretty good.
problem.
Wait,
NASA always provides us cartoons. Give me a cartoon freaking
Stop.
baller.
Astronomy Live has some pretty good photos about it. Because I'm not an expert on the Equatorial mount, apart from the fact that I know, based on the way that it has to track the movement of things that are going on, that it's impossible for it to happen on a flat Earth. All right,
Listen.
Here's some
this is
homework.
just
Wait,
like-
here's some homework for both of you.
What?
How about you guys go and research the EQ mount, and then another time come and tell me how it works on a flat Earth?
No.
Well,
Right.
again,
Right,
you show me. Listen,
We'll
Craig.
move on to
I'll
the
just
next
say real
question
quick.
from the audience.
Yeah,
All right,
Craig, I'll
Worm,
answer that real
let-
quick.
Yeah,
Go
on.
ahead. 3-3.
Sorry. No, sorry, Russian. Go.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick. You're showing me a freaking cartoon image of it looks like a firework, a yellow and red firework on this imaginary ball Earth. That's not saying anything. Show me something real, tangible in this world that we're doing experiments. Experiences dealing with the natural, real world, not math
That
equations. on the
you
board,
don't have
not
an
some freaking
experiment to show how an
cartoons that don't
EQ mount
equate to the
works.
real world.
RV, you don't need an experiment to show how an EQ mount works. It's literally just working based on the spherical Earth. Now, again,
Okay.
I would highly advise that you research the Equatorial mount because it's impossible on a flat Earth. Now, I want to try. I'm going to pick another question. There's been so many, I've missed a bunch.
Worm never got down to the.
Why are you
to the
talking about
moon
yourself?
rock
Stop
being-
it.
Being petrified wood. Yeah, he dodged that question in the last
Yeah.
podcast.
And digging the
And,
hole to China, from the
yeah.
feet or the head coming out.
He's adding to the
Never been
list.
answered.
So I'm just looking
We're
for some
gonna
good
make a
questions.
list. We're gonna make a list for you, Worm.
Do.
The I haven't addressed it
All right.
list.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a good question. A lot of them are just insulting you.
Yeah, a bunch
so-
of idiots not giving you a good question. I understand why it's taking a long time, Craig. A bunch of freaking morons in the side box here.
Mechanical
They
gyro.
literally have nothing to say. They offer nothing.
Guys, I'm looking for some good questions here.
Yeah, there's not a single one. A bunch of brain
The chat
dead
keeps
idiots.
moving. It's very hard to keep up with it.
No worries, Craig. It's not your fault. You have a bunch of brain dead idiots as followers
Zombies.
that think they're
That think
freaking
Bigfoot's
monkeys
real.
living on a
Okay.
spinning ball.
And
All right,
Bigfoot's gonna get
all
them.
right, let's ask this one because earlier on you were going about how do we see different things in the sky at different times of the year. So from Requiem for a Dream, RV, how can we have seasonal constellations if the Earth is flat? Entire constellations blocked by the sun for 1 month at a time throughout the year. So
Well, it's very simple. You know, this is the most basic on flat Earth, the flat Earth model. As the sun and the moon circle above, and basically it's due to electromagnetism, due to the so-called North Pole, which is the center of the flat Earth, the sun and the moon circle above us. And as they circle, they move up and out through the Tropic of Cancer and the
Okay,
Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn. And
Got
they
off-
basically, they maneuver, and this is what creates these obstacles that you see twice, like a clock, like the hour hand and the minute hand on a clock, they pass each other, just the same thing. But again, the sun and the moon, they shift. We all know the distance of the sun and the moon, it fluctuates. Okay, this is not disputed. Same thing, and as they circle above, that's what happens. Just like the reason you get 24-hour daylights in the so-called North Pole. Explain that on a ball Earth. You know, explain that on a ball, you can't.
Easy, the axis of rotation. But all right, let me go back to your point about the sun being, above us and everything.
Yeah.
Do you agree that the sun is the source of heat on the planet?
It gives us light, gives us heat. Yeah.
So if the sun is so close, why is there snow on the top of mountains?
Well, that's the funny thing is, and I'll answer that for you because talking about snow on top of mountains, for example, you could be in Phoenix, Arizona. It's called the Valley of the Sun. You go to the most extreme temperatures where you get basically averages over 100 to 110 during the summer. During winter, it goes below freezing where it snows. There's literally snow and cactus. So this is what I'm getting at. So at higher altitudes with the mountaintops, you see snow. But also due to Phoenix in the suburbs being in the Valley of the Sun, you get snow on the ground too.
Right.
It's snow to sky
That has
scale.
to do with moisture, though, because,
Yeah, that
because
doesn't actually
deserts
answer my
are very
question.
dry and they
Like-
don't hold.
No,
Moist
it
air
does
holds like
answer the
760.
question.
My point is
Yeah,
that
that's a physics
a
thing.
mountain is a lot higher up, so it's closer
It
to
should
the
be
sun
closer to the sun.
on a flat Earth, which means it would
Okay.
directly get more heat. So why is there constantly snow on the peak of Everest if it's closer to the sun?
Again, you don't understand how this works. It's the sun is not 90 million miles away in deep space. It's circling above. Okay, it's circling above, and it does get colder. Of course, on the top of mountaintops. But the point I'm making is this. For example, I'm in the Bay Area, right? And when you go down to, say, for example, Gilroy, California, which is south of me, it's a valley. It gets colder. I'm up north. It's supposed to be colder where I'm at, but it's actually colder when you go south because there's a dip. There's a dip. It's a valley, and it's like zone 9B. I'm zone 10A, and it's southern from where I am. So what I'm getting at is this: all over. If you look at the USDA plant zone map throughout the United States, it varies greatly, inland, outland, and it's all based on the revolving sun that revolves above us. So peaks and valleys, it gets cold. It gets cold when it gets lower. It gets cold when it's higher too. So there you go. Again, getting back to Arizona.
That really didn't answer the question of why it's constantly cold and covered in snow at the peak of a mountain that is always closer to the flat Earth, but to the sun. But we'll move on to another question.
Real quick, Craig. Well, hold on. This obviously too, with the sun being 93 million miles away, it's also closer to than the freaking valleys.
Okay.
Right.
So
it gets colder too.
Next question from Mandelbrot. Wait! Stop talking! Stop talking! I'm talking.
We
Stop
just
talking.
missed a California woman. She was
do I have to mute you?
Old.
Do I have to
You
mute you
wouldn't
because I'm
believe
trying?
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
33 again.
I had to mute him because he just won't stop talking. It's very rude. All right.
Poor
33. Shut up. All right. There's questions. Mandelbrot asks, what you were asking us about drilling through the Earth and everything. So, what would you find if you drilled through the flat Earth?
That's something we have to be very honest about. We don't know. We're not going to be like you guys, the science geeks out there that make up things and pull things out of thin air. We don't have that information because we only drilled down 8 miles. So science claims, it's a molten this, molten that is the core.
Wait. Are you saying that you would need evidence? You don't believe in Bigfoot? You need evidence to believe in something? Wait a minute.
Listen here,
that's crazy.
Beaver. I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Wasn't that the same answer I gave?
I don't believe in nonsense. Okay. Maybe you do.
You believe in the flat Earth,
I don't believe in nonsense either, which is why my answer was I need evidence. You give the same answers that you say your answers are.
Here's a good question. Here's a really good question. All right. Here's a really, really good question for you guys. How is it possible that I can be in a plane that will fly a route that's a triangle, yet every turn is 90 degrees?
It works on a flat Earth.
No, it doesn't.
Am I muted?
No, I can hear you 33. No worries. Here's a better question.
No better question. Answer that question.
No, you always do that, Greg. You always say, here's a better question.
How is it possible that I can be in a plane that's flying a route that is a triangle, yet the only turns it takes are 90 degrees? When on an equilateral triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, 33, what would the angles be?
Stop trying to confuse people. What are you talking about? At the end of the day,
33, answer the question. 33, answer the question. On a triangle of 33, on a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1. Stop talking. I'm asking you a question. Listen, dude, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them. All right. So on with a triangle. Stop talking. On a triangle of sides. Stop talking. I'm talking. Dude, 33. Shut up. 33, shut up and listen, all right? Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Stop talking. Shut up. Right. So, with a triangle of sides 1, 1, and 1, what would the internal angles be?
60, 60.
Okay, right. So, how is it possible then that I can fly in a route that's a triangle of equilateral sides, but the angles are 90? How is that possible?
Well, here's the thing: is obviously you can't really do this in the real world because you freaking have to turn the planet. It's not going to be exact.
Apart from all the routes that do it, I mean, it was literally mapped out in the flight deck by Wolfie on his flight computer. So again,
here's the thing: is listen,
real world, actual done, reality.
Craig, let me say this: it's mapped out on a computer. You hear yourself? It was mapped out on a computer, not in real life.
On a flight that literally flies the plane.
Anything on my freaking computer.
That would literally flies the plane.
The Loch Ness monster flying through space in my computer.
Yeah, but you can't follow that route. You can't follow that route, can you? You can't follow that route, can you? All right. However, on a sphere, on a sphere, you can have a triangle with sides of with angles of 90 degrees. You can't have that on a flat Earth, right? So next one. There's quite a few actual questions.
Brainy, you've been very quiet this whole.
I was actually getting a question for you. Here, I'll ask it since you've queried me.
You do it, Brainy.
This is actually from Radical the Unhallowed Knight, and he would like you to answer, how could you explain Mercury and Venus solar eclipses on a flat Earth? Because we're talking about how you can only have eclipses involving Mercury and Venus because they're the inner planets, and you don't ever get any involving the outer planets. So how would that work?
Hold on, guys. You ever heard of the wheel in the sky that keeps on turning? The wheel in the sky are the sun, moon, and the stars. There's no planets. Planets come from the Greek word. Basically,
wait. We already covered this bullshit. I zoomed in with my analog telescope and I looked at it. So that's already horseshit. We've covered.
All you saw was a blur. What did you look at? All you saw was a blur.
I could see Jupiter with the different lines of the different gases, and you can see the moons around it too, sir.
Okay, well, why do planets shine like stars then? Explain.
Because they're reflecting the fucking light from the sun. That's so simple. It hurts.
That's the setup to my next question. Why is it every time we get these freaking images or so-called photos of the ball Earth from 100 million miles away, it's not shining like a freaking star? You want to answer that? I don't think so, pal.
Because you're looking at an object. Well, hold on a minute.
Let him answer.
That's the slaughtering number.
Let him answer. Guys, you're saying that he's not answering you, but you're not giving him the chance to answer. Shut up and let him answer.
If you create a light point in a distance and you look at it through a dark space, you're not going to see color because color requires more wavelength. And so all you get is a shine point, because at that distance, the different wavelengths break down to a point, I believe, that's how it works. They break down to a point where you can't make that out. So even, for instance, even with the telescope I'm talking about, Jupiter looks kind of black and white because the aperture is not big enough to absorb the wavelengths required for my eye to actually see the color. So while I could see Jupiter and its lines and the dots that make up its moons, and I could make out Jupiter, I couldn't make out the color because that requires a bigger aperture that absorbs more light wavelengths. And I just didn't have a big enough telescope. So I could get close enough to see it and make it out, but not that. Sorry? Jupiter was very visible.
Is Jupiter physical? Is Jupiter physical? Or is there a gas planet?
Maybe.
So-called gas planet.
Gas is still
that's
visible.
A gas planet. I've also seen Saturn, and I've looked at Mars. Mars is a little smaller, but it's also closer. So it ends up looking about the same size as about Jupiter, because Jupiter's way bigger but a lot farther away. And Saturn's also bigger but a little bit.
Worm, can you pull up my email from yesterday?
Stop talking to yourself.
Yeah. Hold on
Worm,
here.
I want you to pull up email from yesterday and pull up Jim Carrey laughing at the moon mission.
Hold on, guys.
Saying what a joke it is.
How many other rocket water balls exist in this vast universe besides so-called ball Earth? How many other water
Well,
balls
actually,
are there spinning?
Kepler has found, I think, was it over 2,000 Earth-like planets that are.
Yeah.
And when they say Earth-like, they're not saying, "Oh, there's
Okay.
definitely liquid water there." They're talking about the
Is there
Goldilocks zone.
evidence of
They're
that?
talking about planets.
Yes.
Is there evidence of that,
Hold on.
though?
He literally just
Talking
told you about the
planets.
evidence
Yeah,
from the
Russian-
Kepler
Russian-
satellites.
Russian-
They found it for
Russian, you have to be careful the
Kepler.
way you ask that because in Fantasyland anything goes with these people. You understand?
Yeah,
in
right.
Fantasyland,
Right, guys,
they come
right.
up with
Gavel,
they
gavel,
come up
gavel,
with
gavel. Stop,
everything.
stop.
They come up with
Everyone,
everything. So
everyone,
whatever you
stop.
bring up, they're like, yeah, they have that. We dealt with that. They just make stuff up. So
Kinda
it's
like-
Everyone,
these
everyone,
zombies will literally believe
stop.
anything. They believe
Everyone,
anything.
stop. All right. Okay. We've been going now for well over 2
Yeah.
hours. All right. I think it's about time we bring this to a close. I thank you both for coming on. I'm going to read out the super chats. Then I'll let you say your goodbyes, and then we'll shut it down for tonight.
Craig.
Okay? Because
Sounds good, Craig.
it is quite late. I do thank you both for coming on.
It was a lot of fun.
So,
I love
we'll start 15th of June, isn't it? Yeah. The Athens 619, $5. The Happy House called. Room 33 has been prepared for these two. Just say the word. $10 from Tig Logan 16, 33 minutes until the stream starts. $3.33 Canadian from Christopher Kane. Put this towards your Tylenol alcohol fund. I think it'd bring to the bullet fund at this point. $5 from John Lee Pettimore III. Every time they say perspective, supposed, or P900 1000, take a drink. Please, guys, don't do that. I do not want to be responsible for anyone getting alcohol poisoning. $2 from All the Things Bright and What the Fuck. RV, is the moon flat?
The moon, in my opinion, is we only see one face of it, of course. So there's no way of really determining. I would say it could be a semi-sphere, flat. It could be like a freaking light on your ceiling, just part of a half a sphere. Who knows? We only see one side.
All right,
we
then,
only
fair
see
enough.
one side. That's a fact.
Okay, $5 from John Lee Pettimore III. This one is to 33. So two people face each other. Now they both point left. That is relative direction.
What? All right. Who is
So-
that? Let's call him out. Who is that?
John Lee Pettimore III. So what you're saying is that if two people are facing each other and they both point to their left, are they pointing the same way?
If I'm standing on the moon and I am
No. Don't straw man
that's
here.
what we're
Go back
talking
to
about.
no.
That's reality,
he
pal.
asked you an actual question, so
Listen,
answer it,
will
right?
You keep
Right,
forgetting?
stop,
I'm trying
stop,
to
stop.
answer it.
All right, so answer.
Where is he?
I'll
Tell me where
reiterate
he
the
is
question.
on the
If
ball
there's
earth.
two people facing each other and they both point to their left, are they pointing the same way?
On the ball?
No, we're not talking about the ball, just them. They're facing each other and they both point to their left. Are they pointing the same direction?
No.
Relative directions, thank you. Okay, $5 Canadian from Christopher Kane,
I don't understand
33.
what you're
Are you
saying.
really this dense
Whatever.
or are you purposely trolling? You ask a lot of questions, but you listen to zero answers. Yep, $5 Australian from John Rep. For fuck's sake, what is
Whatever
your
that's supposed to
orientation
mean,
when
what-
on the moon? Why can't you get your head around north is not the same as up? You're upside down, Aussies are up.
If two people are facing each other and they're pointing left, how can they be pointing at each other?
No, I didn't say they're pointing at each other. I said they're each pointing to their left. So are they pointing the same way? No,
don't
that's
understand your
relative
question.
directions. It's not hard to understand, dude. 100.
I don't
Wait,
understand the point you're
stop.
trying to make. Is what I'm getting at.
I know you don't, and it's beautiful.
How does
I'm
an
sure
analog
Tau Ceti
telescope
Alpha
work,
will.
Craig? Quick, tell me how a telescope works. Quick.
Can you break that down? What you're trying to say?
I
Two
broke it
people
down
are
as much
pointing
as
to their
possible,
left, staring
dude.
at
Like,
each other.
we're moving
How
on.
does that-
We're moving on
what does that
because
do
you're
with-
too dumb to get it. All right, $100 from Aussie
Whatever.
Globehead. FTFE. This is Manson's shill payment.
Worm.
Keep up the good
Worm.
work,
I'm
and you will
happy
be
with
as
you,
high
Worm.
as Russianvids in the Masons soon. Yep. $5. Thank you, Aussie. For that. $5 from Bombay. Proper measurements are in kilometers, and the northern hemisphere is the one that's at the bottom. Australia on
Worm.
top. $5 from the Athens 619. 99.9% of people know the Earth is a sphere. The 0.1% think the 99% are crazy. $5 from John Lee Pettimore III again. Time for them to answer questions. Yeah, that doesn't happen. We try. They don't know how to. $2 Australian dollars from Colin Field. It's a boomerang, Aborigines. $2 US dollars from Space Comma. It's called fiction for a reason. $5 US from the Logical Hillbilly. Worm and platypus fighting stupidity wherever they find it. Damn, they found a freaking ton of it today. $2 Australian from Bombay. Craig versus 33 UC. Fight the flatworm. $2 from Logical Hillbilly. RV, when you go into that rocket launch. Yeah, we'll get to that another time. $5 Australian from Petimus Prime. Bob proved rotation and curvature in that video. He has an EQ mount behind him in that video. $10 from Mama Murder 73 to buy you a whiteboard so you can really teach these fools. Nice drawing of a fiber optic gyro. Brain is fried tonight. Thanks. Needed the brain numbing to go to bed. You're welcome. Sleep well, Mama Murder. $2 from Colin Phil. Thank you. £5 from Insane Monkey. Please ask them about the flat basketball taken on the Imager. Yeah. I've actually raised that one with Russianvids before. He kind of hand waved it. $5 Australian from John Rapp. Okay, in writing, RV and 33, you are fucking idiots. Do you understand we all think this of you both, and that we are laughing at you, not with you?
Can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
This idiot wouldn't know, Craig. This idiot wouldn't know he's being lied to. He never freaking questioned anything science has ever provided, anything the mainstream media has provided. All he freaking does is a parrot, polywana cracker, repeats what he's been told. He never questioned a single damn thing he's ever been told in his whole freaking life. So shut the hell up.
Okay. You got a personal response there, John Rapp. Well done. $5 Australian from Bombay. If there was a hole all the way through the earth and you jumped in feet first, then you'd come out feet first on the other side. Kind of, but it's too big to really think in that terms. $199 from the Batman fan. Wait, I'm reading. Why don't you knobs show us a picture of the flat Earth, because there isn't any. $1.99 from Uhan Roderick. Just stopping by to say hi, Greg. I'll tell Greg you said hi. $3.33 Canadian from Christopher Kane. Craig, you know Flerfs don't know math. Yeah, they know meth though, I'm pretty sure. $1.99 from Zach Hopper. How is it that tropics are the same circumference? Don't, it's maths, they can't do that. And $2 Canadian from Jeremy McNeil. Hey, McNeil, same as my surname. RV, explain why we account for magnetic declination. Do you know about that one, RV?
Say that again. I didn't hear. Magnetic what?
Declination.
Well, if this is something in the real world, you know, or is this something that's just like the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive? What are we exactly talking about here?
Okay, right. So you don't. That's cool. Another thing to look up.
No, I want an explanation of exactly what he's referring to.
Magnetic declination.
Explain in detail.
I'll have to get the exact definition up so I don't get it wrong for you.
Okay, no worries. We'll get back to it. Or you want to do it now? We'll just do it now.
Just bear with me. Right. Magnetic declination or magnetic variation is the angle on the horizontal plane between magnetic north and true north. So yeah, it's the fact that there's a difference between magnetic north and true north.
I understand the supposed axis, and it's tilted at 23.5 and all this nonsense. Well, it's all just science fiction. That's all it is. That's what it comes down to. All we have is magnetism, electromagnetism. Listen to me. I want to say this real quick. Why do we have tides on this flat Earth? How do you flood a ball? Let me ask you that. How do you flood a freaking ball? I'll tell you how tides work real quick. Salt water is highly magnetic. When the sun and the moon circle above, this is what creates the tides. Everything is very simple. Magnetic. You can't flood a ball. Show me through science flooding a ball. You can't demonstrate it.
Tao, you're welcome. You're welcome. $3.30 Canadian from Clayton Page. If the sun is so close, why is Arctic cold? Sun is up 24 hours. Yeah, we did talk about that. $2 from Raven Zero. Okay, 33. The guy can't understand basic reality, although he thinks he does, which is always fun. And
whoa, hold on.
Wait, I've just been given 50 secs here. 50 secs from Carl Christopherson.
Okay.
Thank you for all the secs. And he's actually got a question for you, RV. Can you explain what the burden of proof is?
Burden of proof is in reality, not in a freaking chalkboard or a whiteboard or a blackboard, some metaphysic garbage, not in a school textbook. It's in the real world. Right, that's burden of proof in reality. Okay? I don't care if 1,000 scientists tell me. Hold on, Craig. I don't care if 1,000 scientists make any claim they want. If they can't prove it in the real world, it's not science. It's religious belief. If they can't prove it and demonstrate it to me, that's simple. Go ahead, Craig.
RV, he proved it to us, though. He showed us the picture of the boat with the other boat right behind it falling off the curve. Did you see that? He showed us that.
Here's something I want to mention real quick, Craig.
Of the globe.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, 33, and Craig, I want to mention this real quick. Imagine this. Imagine we lived on a cube Earth that was spinning. A cube.
A cube.
In space.
Okay.
A cube. Now, you think that sounds ridiculous, right? Now, compared to the ball Earth,
Cuber.
there's not much difference.
cuber.
Just shave around the corners. Bingo. You got the same basic freaking thing.
Are you
Just shave
watching
around the
Red
corners of a
That's
cube.
what the worm. That's what the worm
You
and the
watch
zombies
Red Pill.
believe. It's really incredible, man.
All right.
It
Okay.
truly is.
You watch
Yeah,
Red
people,
Pill
the
philosophy.
brainwashing is amazing.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
The worm-
I'm 5 years old. Listen, hold on, guys.
Okay, so I've got a few more super chats.
ahead.
Let me just get through them.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
$5 from Jeffrey Greyjack. Holy crap, these guys are priceless. Thanks for the entertainment, FTFE. $5 Canadian from Christopher Kane. If two people face each other and point to their respective lefts, that's different. 33 is an idiot. And $19.99 US from Rick Shunt. Plumb lines on the surface of
understand
Earth
what the
are
hell
not
you're
parallel
asking.
to one another. Yeah, so
Two people are staring at each other and they're pointing left. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pointing in different directions. What does that have to do with the flat Earth? I don't understand that.
because it's trying
It's
to
the
explain to you what relative direction is. And I've got a few more just
I
coming in.
asked you if Mrs. Moon was standing on the moon, would that still be the same perspective you're asking
Relative
about?
directions.
Or no? Is that a
That's
different,
what-
or is that
yeah.
a different world?
Okay,
You're living in
so
a
$5
different
Australian dollars from John Rapp. RV, you got my whole
Thank you.
background from my comment. Whoa, what an imagination. Enough said. Ding. $5 US from Philhammer 335. If salt water is magnetic, why does my compass work underwater? $4.99 US from Pat the Batman fan. Let's start a fund to
So
send them into
relative.
space so they can
Good.
see for themselves. No re-entry plan needed. That's a good one. $1.99 US from Lauren Tactus. Demonstrate it to you? No, dude. So yeah, I just think I'll refresh that, make sure there is no more super chats. Thank you everyone for the super chats. It's been fun tonight.
Worm.
33, I'll let you just have a couple of minutes to wrap up any thoughts. Go ahead.
Worm, all I'm going to say is that no matter what you say on this podcast or what your zombie followers think, I'm well aware of what's going on. I know that the Earth doesn't curve just over the coast as I'm looking out, as I'm throwing my fishing line in South Florida, looking to catch my barracuda. I know that when I see a ship right out on the horizon, I know that the curve doesn't start there and the world doesn't start curving off right there. Because if it did, then Worm, we'd be in a pretty small planet, pal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where you live, but I mean, I would guarantee you it's a bit further than what I'm looking at. When
I guess
I'm
maths
fishing.
isn't your strong suit. There's a video on my channel, actually one of the very first I did.
Worm.
Wait, let me respond to you. There's a video on my channel, one of the very first I did, like in December last year, called The Horizon. Please go and watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch
Okay.
whatever you send me
And
to
of
watch. I'll check it
course
out.
you're from Florida. You would
RV,
be.
I'm not from Florida.
I love you,
I spent
Florida.
some time in
I
All
love
right,
you.
guys.
I'm not from
RV,
Florida.
thank you for coming
Somebody
on.
said they're from Florida
Would
there,
you
didn't they?
just like take a couple of minutes, wrap up any thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, Trey. I appreciate it. You know, this has been a lively debate. You know, it gets a little bit heated at times, but you know what? The bottom line is this, it gets people thinking. You know, if you're a ball earther or a flat earther and you disagree, and you know, and no disrespect to you, Craig, or Eager Beaver or anything, you know, we're just pointing out our perspective and what I see in my reality, what 33 sees. You guys go by science, we go by what's observable proof, and we can agree to disagree. People can come to their own conclusions. I appreciate you having me on, Craig, and I'll leave it there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. Thank you.
No worries. Brainy, what's your thoughts on what's happened tonight?
I think it's going to make a fantastic replay. And other than that, this was a lot of fun. Thank you on it. But other than that, thanks for chatting Russianvids and 33. And maybe we'll have to do more rounds of this in the future. We have to light this dumpster on fire again, I think.
Man.
That was certainly a fun one.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, sounds
If
good.
you guys haven't subscribed to Brainy Beaver, please go and do that. He is absolutely hilarious.
I'm going to be trying to step it up a little bit more. I've been a little slow in the summer here. Got little ones running around. You know how it is.
Yeah, plus you got your new business and everything.
RV, it's always a pleasure slaughtering these guys.
Slaughtering.
Yeah,
That's
thanks,
lovely.
brother. I appreciate it. And I'm very proud of 33. I want to say this. I'm very proud of 33 and the way he conducts himself. Did an outstanding job stepping up to the plate. He's been a follower of mine for the last several years. And when he told me he's going to go on live debate, I couldn't wait. When I heard him, I'm like, bam, home run. And I'm very proud of 33 in his work because – go ahead.
No, I'm saying thank you
33.
very much, RV. Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
No worries.
We need
One last
more
one I
of
wanna make
you
about
people,
33
right?
as well.
So this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is this. I have
any-
a lot of followers. I want to say this real quick, 33.
Anytime-
Everybody out there
I was
listening.
saying, anytime
I have
I
a
can
lot of
put
followers.
this worm
But
on a
you
hook.
step up to the plate and actually done what 33 has done, and he's
Thank you.
put himself out there,
Yeah.
and
And-
I really respect him for that.
Actually, to follow on from that, RV, the thing is, at the moment, it's been quite hard to find flat earthers that are willing to even come on a debate. So, with that in mind, thank you to both of you for coming on tonight, and for staying as amicable as possible. There was a bit of heated talking, but I think it was a good conversation tonight, and I had a lot of fun. Just to clarify what I said right at the beginning, I apologise for calling Pig a scammer and saying that he bailed on the community. That was wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I am done with Pig now, and I don't want him on my channel again. End of story. So, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you Brainy Beaver for coming on. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to him. Remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat.